1620 AM or go to 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Sun and clouds Monday, more mild with highs near 55 degrees, but breezy. Gusts possible out of the southeast in excess of 25 miles an hour. Expect high fire danger Monday, mostly cloudy tonight and mild with a low near 38. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, isolated showers with a chance of storms after 5 p.m. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Pandemic-impacted homeowners may be at risk of losing their homes, which is why the state of Nebraska is providing relief through the Homeowner Assistance Fund. Qualified homeowners can receive up to $30,000 in assistance for past due mortgage payments, past due real estate taxes, HOA dues, and homeowners or flood insurance. Funds will be distributed until they run out, and they do not need to be paid back. View qualifications and apply today at nebraskahaf.com. That's nebraskahaf.com.
Dino here with Leach Camper Sales, and we're excited to welcome spring and help you enjoy it with a new RV. We work hard to address your individual needs, finding the best fit for you and your family, and a payment that fits your budget.
And don't forget, coffee's always on.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72.
Malarkey shingles are durable, high performance, impact resistant, and beautiful. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is a certified Malarkey shingle residential contractor. For a free estimate, call Carp's Complete Exteriors or visit carpsomaha.com.
You don't like taxes, but you love when that rebate arrives in your account. Don't waste that cash on clothes that won't fit your style in a few months. Put your rebate towards a beautiful smile that never goes out of fashion with Bite. That's B-Y-T-E. Bite Invisible Teeth Aligners give you the straighter teeth you've always wanted for thousands less than traditional braces. Best tax rebate ever. Order your at-home impression kit for just $14.95 at byte.com today. Be confident. Be you with Bite.
Listen to 1620 The Zone anywhere, anytime. Online at 1620thezone.com and on the 1620 The Zone mobile app. You can hear all of your 6A to 6P favorites in the 1620 The Zone app, powered by Woodhouse Auto Family. This edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone is proudly presented by Union Bank and Trust. The program starts now.
KOZN. Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
Jack Mitchell, Steve Sipple, and it's a Monday.
Monday. The sun is out. How about that? It's like a better week already than last week.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's sunny. It's pretty cool.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
I hope everyone had a fine weekend. And now you've settled in for a long work week. A long, grueling work week.
What is this?
What is what?
Why are you doing this?
Because I'm the hard, cold slap of reality.
Oh.
Your week. I feel like I am the only person in America that doesn't have a lot of takes about this. I just don't. I don't know why. I guess it's because I feel like I'm being worked again.
Oh.
Yeah.
I only have
That's
two
all.
takes. I only have two takes
Well,
about it.
What are the takes?
Well, Ravi kind of covered it. I don't think it's fair to make fun of somebody for something they can't control. I get there's a hierarchy or whatever, but that's dumb to me.
I thought it was fine.
But I also don't think Will Smith should have gone up there and just got all slappy with it.
Mhm.
Like that
Well,
seems
especially
like
'cause he
an
was
after.
laughing about
So is
it.
that one take or is that two takes?
That's two separate takes.
Those are the two takes.
'Cause I feel like that's something that he could have been like, because I'm sure Will Smith has Chris Rock's number or has access to talk to him after the show.
probably.
That would have been something like, hey, like settle that not in front of the cameras.
So I'll be honest. When he first told the joke, I thought that because look, I'm not into garbage action movies that like movies that The Rock is in. Like I don't go see those movies, you know. So I'm not. I thought that she was in some G.I. Joe, G.I. Jane
Oh,
type.
you weren't
movie
even sure
recently.
what G.I. Jane. You
I
didn't know
thought it
what
was like
G.I.
a
Jane
recent
was?
movie that had like bombed, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty funny."
It's
He's
like
making
25
fun-
years old.
No, see, I knew about that one. I just figured that there was a remake along the way because I know how Hollywood is, and so I figured he was
Oh.
making fun of her for being in a crappy movie recently, and you know, so that's what I thought the joke. And I obviously knew that she was bald,
Yeah.
and so I got that part of the joke. I thought that's where he was going with it. I didn't realize it was going to be, you know, certainly I didn't realize it was going to be a whole thing. Didn't realize it was going to be a whole thing.
You know what they'll need to do now? Because there was no steps, right? The stage kind of just blended into the seats, right? You didn't
Oh,
have
was
to,
it?
You didn't have to walk up any stairs,
Yeah,
did you?
you might be right. I don't remember.
Was there like a ramp or anything?
That's what John's saying.
Might
You
have
think-
been,
you think
but
it
it's
was a
not like
ramp.
it used to be. You know, the stage was elevated, and you walked up stairs. from
Actual
the,
stairs because people have like tripped and fallen
Yeah.
before. No, it was so it was like kind of like levels, giant like there's
Levels.
levels.
Jared, we're going to build levels.
That's like the first season.
Haha,
if I
Seinfeld.
remember
yeah,
right.
it was actually a pretty
Yeah.
good one.
Seinfeld, funny show.
It is indeed a funny show. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, so I guess it was levels that he had to kind of go up. Yeah.
So he did have to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
there it is. The slap heard around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem: they can't capitalize on it until next year.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Watch the Oscars? Somebody might get punched again. Like this isn't gonna happen.
You think they're going to show any of that in their promo material for next year?
Definitely not. I was very sad, Nick, at the very end of the show last night when they had their montage of all the great things that happened last night. I was like, oh man, they should include that because that's the only moment that people are going to remember.
That's the only one what people are.
I'm not
going to
remember anything else from this. And the reason that I know this is I heard a reference this morning to the time where La La Land won, but then they didn't win and another movie won. And they were like, this is going to be like that, where this event is the only thing that you're going to remember from the Oscars, just like when Moonlight beat La La Land. And I was like, you know what? I don't remember anything else from that Oscars, even though I watched a lot of it. The only thing I remember was the very end, holding up the card, you know.
How about Liza Minnelli showing up?
That was uncomfortable. I don't like that the Oscars put all these people that struggle. I mean,
I didn't know she was in a wheelchair.
I didn't know that she was in a wheelchair. So you didn't see the end.
I didn't see any of it.
John, it is obvious that Liza Minnelli is fading a little bit because it was very uncomfortable and she kept repeating herself. At the very end, right as they're about to announce the winner, she started talking to Lady Gaga like it was the beginning. She's like, "It's so great to be here, isn't it?" And Lady Gaga did a great job of just trying to like steer the conversation right into who won. Liza couldn't read for a second. She's losing it. It was very sad. I was very uncomfortable. Very odd. Yeah. I guess I'll remember that too. I'll remember that.
Sounds like I missed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to Twitter, I saw
it all. You saw the
saw what
jokes.
I needed to, and then I immediately went back to my documentary.
There you go.
That's how I roll.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it live either. I was playing Minecraft with some friends, and then I saw it on Twitter.
You were playing Minecraft.
Yes, John, I was playing Minecraft.
I think even my kids have outgrown that game.
It's a fun game. You just get to build. It's like Legos.
Just go buy yourself some Legos.
I have Legos, but it's like
a
different kind. Listen, John.
You have Legos?
Yeah, I have Legos. I get the complicated adult sets though. It says 9 to 10 years, but I can build most of those sets in about 1.5.
That's
so
great.
Good on you, Nick.
That is fantastic.
Good on you.
I am happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy for all of you that you could be here today.
Dunk on Nick for having hobbies.
Well,
no, there's nothing wrong with that. My kids have Legos, or my son does. He doesn't build them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Still have a lot of them around the house. If you want them, I'll just bring them in.
I just like to build them. I don't play with them or anything. It's just fun to build, display.
Do you actually play with the Legos? I mean, the whole idea is just to build with them.
I mean,
and
when
then
I
tear
was a
them
kid,
apart
I'd
and
build them
again.
and play with them. I had a bunch of the Star Wars sets.
Okay.
But
Sounds
as
like
an
fun.
adult, I just like to build them and then display.
Yeah.
A lot of them even come with displays with them now because they know that we're adults.
Very cool.
You are adults.
Mm-hmm.
Play with toys.
It's not a toy. It's a building thing.
What do we have on the show today, John?
It's a
We
model.
have Jack Mitchell and Steve Sipple. That's what we have
Hell
on the show
yeah.
today.
That's a hell of a lineup.
That's our usual Monday lineup presented by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Also, the Final Four is set. Creighton women gave us another great ride before last night it finally came to an end. There were some things we didn't get to last week that I wanted to touch on. Some more
preview of the Sweet 16 games.
No, not that.
Okay.
Name, image, likeness stuff. Also, and I put out a poll question.
Typical?
Yeah, it's pretty typical. Because I read this morning that it's possible that 6 wins is a reasonable goal for this football team.
Okay.
So I put out the question. When you read 6 wins being a reasonable goal for Husker football in 2022, your first reaction is a nod with sad approval, a roll of the eyes, agree heartily, or slap somebody.
Ooh.
And I'll be curious to see what our guests think about that, particularly Mr. Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny, even though I kind of agree with 6, because remember, when all the changes were made, I said, this might actually be a 2-year thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been saying that for a while.
It might actually be a 2-year thing. I mean, if you're really going to give it a chance to work, you really want to give it more than just 1 year. It's like, well, you got to make all these changes and then you don't turn it around right away, then blow it all up. So it's possible. I don't know if that's what they're thinking in Lincoln. But it's something that has crossed my mind. So when I saw that initially, I was like, oh, I guess that's kind of what I said.
Mm-hmm.
But then you read it. And you're like, really? Really? Yes. I don't know. It would seem kind of weak, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would seem kind of weak.
But on the other hand, they haven't done it yet. So maybe it's kind of shooting for the stars.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, like Casey Kasem said, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the thing on the second from the third shelf up from the top.
As he always said.
402-951-1620 is the hotline. You can also hit us up in the Equitable Bank inbox. John at 1620thezone.com or Josh at 1620thezone.com at Equitably Take Bank and personally answer phone. First ring.
Personally.
And the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. And maybe there'll be more slapping going on.
Maybe. Nick, get over here.
Then we'll need to break down.
Yes, please.
Maybe that'll be the next Lego set. Oscar's Lego set.
Oh.
Where you can recreate the stage with the levels.
I wouldn't want to build that one. I
And
like
then,
all the
and then you
NASA
get the little figures, and there's the Chris Rock figure, and there's the Will Smith figure, and when you pop the Will Smith figure on the head, his arm just goes whap.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like a fun toy.
It does sound like a fun toy.
I have the space shuttle. I have the Apollo 11. I have the space station. I build adult Legos, guys.
Very cool. Very cool, Nick.
Adult Legos for adults.
Very cool.
Very cool.
The Apollo 11, 1,969 pieces.
Nice.
Get it?
Oh, because they launched this 1969.
Uh-huh.
How cool
It's
is
also
that?
a lot of
Very
pieces.
cool. And very nice.
Does it come with the movie camera and the soundstage?
No.
Oh, wait, that's
John.
the Josh Peterson edition.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't believe you just made that joke. You stepped
Well,
on my joke.
I made it for you.
I'm going to slap you now. You stepped on my joke.
I made it for you.
The JFK set does come with a hungover security guy, though.
A hungover motorcycle cop.
Secret Service agent.
Secret Service agents are basically just high-level security guys.
I mean, yes, if you view them that way, they definitely are. They definitely are. You're a security guard. You're like Paul Blart Mall Cop.
You walk up to the Yellow Jackets at sporting events and say, you're just a couple of levels down from Secret Service.
I've never done that. Nick
I've never done that, but apparently that's what Nick thinks.
Mm-hmm.
He sees security on your back. Hey, you're just a couple of more levels up to Secret Service,
Mm-hmm.
the most important security in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Your home for the college basketball tournament. 1620 The Zone.
Hi again, everybody. Kent Pavelka, courtside, getting ready for this year's roofing season from the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard, America's leading installer of Da Vinci roofs and roofs of all styles. We're expecting another year filled with good sportsmanship, fairness, and integrity. Make the right call with John Higgins Weather Guard, providing the highest level of customer service with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. It's tip-off time with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Experience the difference at Woodhouse Buick GMC. Discover the all-new 2022 GMC Terrain with 3 distinct trim lines to choose from. There's a Terrain for any driver. Plus, safety and capability come standard in the Terrain lineup so you can conquer the road with confidence. Shop our indoor showroom or purchase online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade.
What's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook and our relationship and our use of it is you can combine prop bet statement from multiple games and now even multiple sports.
It's great. You got a ton of options. That's one of the reasons why I think the Sportsbook app is so cool. I know it's America's #1 Sportsbook app, and I was like, hey, you know what? I want to figure out why. And a lot of it is because of the options, whether it's odds boost, the site credit back, just to refer a friend. They're constantly trying to make sure that you have plenty of options to make sure that you maximize. It's safe, secure, it's easy to use. Just make sure you get it downloaded by entering the promo code ZONE.
Now, you could go Giannis. You could go your favorite NHL scores like Sid the Kid or Ovi. And for an even bigger payout, new to FanDuel, sign up with that promo code that Damon mentioned, ZONE, to get $150 in site credit guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Make every moment more. Download the app today and use promo code ZONE with the FanDuel Sportsbook app so they know we sent you. 21 over, present Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue does not withdraw. Site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
The following is paid for by Third Home. Do you own a vacation home? How would you like access to leverage it for world travel without the hassle or expense of renting? Third Home is the members-only luxury property and travel club that opens your world to exquisite rent-free travel. The Economist reported Third Home to be the secret to scoring a vacation home that's practically free. Find out how it works. Call for your free information now. 800-201-1894. 800-201-1894.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson on 1620 The Zone.
Jed writes in on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, thinking 6 wins is a successful season is weak, but so is bringing back a coach that is 15-29.
That's maybe how some people will look at it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that I have a lot of takes on the slap.
You keep saying it, and yet
I don't.
you have takes.
I don't.
I don't have takes,
but
let's
I
talk
have
about it for
observations.
now. So those aren't takes. Just
takes
is it an observation just a less spicy take?
Oh, dumb debate. Save that for Wednesday.
Well, normally because
like,
of where I live in the Twitterverse, it's like 95% a sports Twitterverse.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get overtime in the NFL, college football playoff expansion, nil stuff, the hot takey stuff that gets a lot of different things in there. You kind of used to being in that ballpark. It is interesting to watch the different angles that takes can come from with an incident as simple as this dude getting up, walking on stage and slapping another dude.
Mm-hmm.
We've had takes about, he could have killed him, oh, he's doing the right thing. He's defending his wife's honor.
Mm-hmm. Why can't you take a joke, Will Smith?
Why can't you take a joke, Will Smith?
Yeah.
I saw somebody have a take is if it was Betty White up there and they said the same joke.
Yeah. Even though
they
she's
slapped
dead
her.
now.
It's like, I don't think anyone would slap Betty White.
There is a
So what's your observation?
Well, there was another take that just came across my desk.
The AP wire.
No, it's not an AP wire, but it's a
JB
writer.
wire.
It's a writer.
Okay.
I don't think she's employed by anyone. She's a distinguished professor of the Newmark J School.
Okay.
I don't know what Newmark must be a school in New York.
Okay.
She tweeted, just a note to white people. That what happened between Will, Jada, and Chris is black folks' business. Tread lightly.
Nice.
Oops. That was tweeted at 3:11 this morning. I think it's a little late.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was late. You know, the event happened at like 9:30.
Maybe that's why I didn't have any takes. I was like,
you're
you know
a white.
what?
You're a white
ginger boy.
Yeah, no takes.
If that would have been between,
Leonardo DiCaprio
and Betty White.
Well, she's dead, Nick.
No, I'm thinking
gonna roll up her corpse.
Sorry, I'm thinking about my people. Jessica Chastain. She's a redhead, right?
Maybe,
I think.
don't know.
I'm just thinking about redheads involved in this. First of all, it wouldn't have happened.
Was Larry Bird a redhead?
It would have happened later because it was probably still daylight in Los Angeles when it actually happened.
Yeah.
So it was later at night.
Yeah.
But if this had been between, if the three
Carrot Top.
Ew. There you go, Carrot Top.
Carrot Top's yoked.
Andy Dalton. Well, you just needed two. Oh no, you need a third.
So Carrot Top's telling the joke. Andy Dalton, and he's married to a redhead.
Okay. Christina Hendricks from Mad Men.
There you go.
Which I know who she's actually married
Would
to.
you slap Carrot Top though? He's kind of yoked.
He is yoked.
Ooh,
now.
that's a good
So
one.
no, Carrot Top is the one with Christina Hendricks because Will Smith is 6'3". He's a big dude.
That's true. He is.
Yeah. So then you would have takes.
Then I could have had. Then I would have a lot more takes.
I'm a white redhead. I have many opinions.
I'm a ginger, thus I can have takes.
You would have had many thoughts.
I would have had many thoughts.
Maybe that's why you don't have any thoughts.
I guess not.
Yeah.
So thanks to Kovi Biacolo.
Okay.
Is this she's a distinguished professor.
Oh, very distinguished.
Very distinguished.
Distinguished of having bad takes, am I right?
Yes. So now my question is this. Can we talk to our next guest? Because he was at the Elton John concert and we were not. Is this just between Jack and the Elton John folks?
I don't think so. I think we're okay.
Well, are we okay?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Also, I think Elton John broke the news to the concert, so I have many questions about that. Like he told them about.
Yeah,
it.
that was probably surreal.
Yeah.
So was it kind of like goodbye yellow brick road and Will Smith just slapped Chris Rock?
How come your Elton John impression sounds like your Elvis impression?
Because Elton John back in the day, he still does. He still dresses very colorfully, kind of like Elvis did back in his day.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There you go.
They were two of the initial musical icons I were familiar with. Because Elton John,
Elvis?
hit it big in the 70s, and Elvis was still alive.
The King, many called him.
And then he died.
On the toilet.
Though some people don't think he died.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jack Mitchell will join us next.
And
we'll discuss many things.
On many sides.
On many sides. Well, except for the slap, because we're not allowed to talk.
Because we're whites.
On 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. We are now under 2 weeks away from their Masters Madness 2022 two-person scramble. Love this event each and every year. Get signed up today. Give them a call at 402-498-0220. You can also get more information at their website, miraclehillgolf.com. Two-person scramble, only $160 per team. You're going to get golf, of course, the cart with the great new GPS system. You'll get fed, tee gift prizes, and a whole lot more. Plus, you will pick a golfer that is participating at Augusta that will be involved in your final score. So maybe you and your partner, you struggle a little bit out there on the course, maybe a couple of bogeys because it is only a two-person scramble, but perhaps you pick the best golfer that is playing that Saturday. Helps you out a ton. 10 a.m. shotgun start. Like I said, only $160 per team. Give them a call today to book that, 402-498-0220, and then ask about other tee time availabilities as well. Looks like we have a couple more days of some bad weather before it gets on into the 60s and beyond as spring rolls into summer. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. The WAVE technology at Brookside Medical was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces immediate results in the bedroom. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 402-671-7777.
Rebuild or reload.
Nemard sprints into the front court, lobs it up, and it goes in!
Settle or soar.
And Alex O'Connell forces a second overtime.
Fold or fight.
Here's Trey, a run to the rim, goes in, and one!
The future arrived. The Creighton Blue Jays
Have never quit on you!
let it fly.
Jays win! Jays win! Jays win!
She became overweight, stinky, several vertebrae fused together. Sophie was going to be euthanized. DINOVITE.com. I remember Sophie starting the Dynovite. She has loved it. She is no longer stinky. She is full of life. Dynovite is nutrition. Get them on Dynovite right away while they're healthy.
You won't believe how happy your dog will
I
be.
get my Dynovite from DINOVITE.com.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
The game is on. Offense is stalled. He's on Twitter. A foul is called. Jack Mitchell is triggered on Twitter.com. Jack Mitchell is triggered on Twitter.com. There's JPJ. He just got creamed. Does the ref not know? Bad calls affect both teams. Jack Mitchell is triggered on Twitter.com. Jack Mitchell is triggered on Twitter.com.
I'm very disappointed. I thought, when you go through this phase, Josh, you have not had to go through this yet, but when you have little ones and
I will never have to go through that
and the
phase.
Sesame Street Live, shows up in your town, you got to go to the Sesame Street Live, and then you got to buy all the tchotchkes and stuff. Basically, where Jack was last night at Pinnacle Bank Arena was the adult version of Sesame Street Live.
But there weren't Legos there.
Right, but I'm a little disappointed that Jack, who's joining us in the video stream, doesn't have the big, sparkly Elton John glasses on.
The concert shirt
Yeah,
with all the dates on it.
Shirt,
Love
all
the
that other stuff.
Love concert shirts.
Where are your Elton John tchotchkes? Oh, his mic is muted. Hang on. I think you muted
Unmute
yourself.
yourself there, Jack. Come on.
All right, sorry about that.
Amateur hour.
First time doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag, but I was in a premium seating area, and the route to that did not go by any merch tables, so I did not even have that opportunity.
To you, did they not? Like a waiter comes up, sir, would you like a T-shirt?
Or like in the old days when they used to have the cigarette girls. Cigars, cigarettes.
But they came up with beverages and food, but no actual
sure.
merch. So maybe that's
Bummer.
another thing they should explore there at Pinnacle Bank Arena that John and I had.
Wow, I'm disappointed. I was kind of curious to see, what the Elton John merch looked like, because the concerts I've been to, and I don't go to many concerts, but it's usually rock concerts. It's always got the T-shirts with all the dates and it's flashy gear and stuff. But I mean, Elton John's a little different.
Well, it's actually kind of funny because one of the things they must have had at merch tables were they were like light up, I don't know, headbands or something. And I actually had a flashback to a kid's event, but mine was the Shrine Circus that we had to always take our kids to. And they had the worst or the tchotchkes, whatever you called them, that the kids really, the light up swords and the light up.
Oh, those are the worst.
And then you'd spend $15 on them. They would break the day after. You'd be out $15. Your kid would be crying.
Yeah.
There were no winners except for I'm glad the Shriners were winners out of it, I suppose. But
the Shriners won out of it, but that's about it. So Josh was saying before we went to break that Elton John broke the news of the slap during the concert.
Yes.
How did? I mean, why would that come up? That's weird to me.
Okay, so the story is he went back after he did his finished his regular set, and everybody knew he was coming out for an encore, and he did a clothes change and came out. He was actually wearing a bathrobe when he came out, but they went. He's done this same event back in LA every year for 30 years. That's an AIDS run fundraiser on the same night as the Oscars, and this is the first year he wasn't able to go. And so they did a live video conference with it. It was this, black tie event. I mean, it looked like the Oscars. There were probably, it very much looked like it. And his husband was there on the podium there. And so they had a back and forth and talked. And then they had that group stay and watch the encore performances that he did. But in the lead up to that, he said, because I think the show was just finishing up or it just finished up, they waited for it to end. And he said, "Hey, did you guys hear Will Smith slapped Chris Rock?" And everyone was like, anybody who wasn't on their phone was so confused.
Well, I saw a tweet, Jack, last night from somebody that had not seen the slap and somehow it avoided the conversation, but then watched Will Smith's speech, and it said something like, "I just thought Will Smith really liked tennis." And it made me laugh so hard. Imagining someone watching, have you seen his speech? He's crying,
No, I haven't seen
all
it,
sorts of
no.
tears. Yeah, if you didn't know the backstory, you'd be like, man, he's really emotional about the Williams sister.
So it's like, so anyway, he says this and then he does this little video and he's like, "All right, let's play that new Dua Lipa song."
That's awesome.
I'm thinking, I think there's audio somewhere, but I can't remember which symphony was performing. But there was a symphony performance. I think it was either in New York or in Boston, and the conductor had to break the news to the audience that JFK had been shot.
Oh my gosh.
There was Robert Kennedy, who, when he landed in Indianapolis, told the crowd that had gathered for his political, deal that Martin Luther King had been shot. I'm just trying to think
Obviously, Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell breaking John Lennon. I'm just trying to think of unusual ways to find out about big news.
John, you're forgetting the most important one that you and I were a part of.
I was waiting for you to tell this story.
So John and I are the Lead Center used to have John and I, which is the Performing Arts Center in Lincoln, used to have John and I come out and introduce some of their acts. And so we would go backstage and meet them beforehand. And then we came out because the station that we worked at was sponsors of the performances. And one of them that we had to do was a guy named Larry Miller, who you may not know by name, but if you Google him, you'll recognize him as being a character in Seinfeld.
He was a character. He played the doorman.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah,
man, what a great episode.
But he was doing his stand-up routine.
So he was doing his stand-up. I'm waiting for John to get there in the lobby first because we're going to go backstage. And, and I've just got my phone out, my old probably BlackBerry or what it was at the time. And somehow I found out through my phone or got a text that Whitney Houston had died that night. That was like the Whitney Houston news had just come out that night. And so I tell John when he gets there, and then we go head backstage, and then we kind of do this backstage. We just sort of chit chat with the guest, and I didn't know what to say to this guy. Like I don't know. I just wasn't in the right place for small talk, and so probably 30, 45 seconds in the conversation. I think John said something to him about Seinfeld or something about everyone. I was like, hey, did you hear Whitney Houston just died? And this is like 90 seconds before curtain of a comedy show. John was right there. He was like, why would you say that to him right then?
That's like the Peter King story when he told the waiter at some restaurant in Milwaukee about Robin Williams killing himself. He goes, hey, did you hear about Robin Williams? And the waiter said no. And he goes, he hung himself. So, and then he's like, I thought the waiter would cry. It's like, why would you deliver the news in that way? I
don't know why, but it was like, I was like, well, I mean, he's not been around, so I can't ask him about the weather. Can't talk about the recent Husker game. And I'm like, I'm out of my small talk topics here. Well, let's talk about the news. What's in the news?
Have we ever had like a big news item that we have broken on the show? Like, obviously, we've talked about major sports things before. I think Michael Jackson died during the show, right? Back in, 8 or 9?
His collapse happened. I think he died later
on. And, of course, that was days after Scoop basically.
Scoop killed Michael Jackson.
Yeah, indeed.
But I was just thinking of weird ways to break the news. Hey, how do you remember? You'll never forget it, Jack, that Elton John was the one to tell you about the slap.
I was on my phone. My wife texted me right immediately when it happened, so I was aware of it. And then, of course, I was on Twitter, and my son was there with me, and we were talking about it the whole time. So, yeah, I'm a very updated person, but not everyone is like that.
On Twitter during Sir Elton John.
Yeah, I was. Once I got the text from her, I was like, what in the heck happened? So I had to check. I wasn't on my phone a lot, but when he played the 80s stuff, I got on my phone.
Yeah. Do we do this anymore? Do we move on? Because I did have an important political question for you, Jack.
Wait, what?
Are you going to be a House of Representative member at some point soon? What's going on? What's the latest?
Some are saying that it makes a lot of sense. Some are saying it's time for a change. The answer is I'm not sure. I've just got to kind of take some time and think about it. Talk to my family, of course.
Do your own research.
Do some of my figure out what I think about things is probably going to be important.
Interesting.
I don't know. I also don't know. I think I would run as an independent, but I don't think there's any independents on the ballot for this thing. So I'm gonna have to pick a party too if that happens.
Because you have to get a certain amount of signatures if you're going to get on the ballot.
No, you're going to have to pick a side. Then that'll make your listeners really happy.
I think what happens, John, is both of the two state parties, basically say this is who we want to run for us, and they go on the special election ballot. That's how this one works.
Oh, I see.
He is a radio star.
But if you were independent, you don't have to get signatures.
I don't know if independents can get from what I understand, and I don't know. This is important. I got people looking into this, so we'll see. But this has not happened since the early 1900s. I don't think so.
You're not on the website anymore. On Wikipedia, that's sad.
Yeah, I decided to take it down.
Oh, you jerk! You jerk!
Bummer. There may have been some deceptive things going on there.
Interesting.
Well, I was having this conversation with someone close to me about, what would Jack be like as a House of Representatives
Great question.
member?
I was thinking the same thing.
And
what's the answer?
The answer is I don't.
Amazing.
I think he would be miserable.
Miserable.
Yeah, because first of all, you can't really focus on. You're going to be too busy passing laws or obstructing laws
depending on the side that you just
watch, Husker basketball or Husker football.
That's a positive. No more Husker hoops in its
This will be pretty much done by Husker basketball season. This thing's over in January. They don't do much of anything probably, and during the holidays and that sort of thing. Yeah, that's not a problem. And I think you get Saturdays off. Ben Sass sells runs all the time at Husker games, so you must get those off. So I think we're fine on that.
Okay, good. Well, that's
I
good.
think we've got that taken care of. So
all right, well, that's awesome. I'm happy for you, man. I'm proud of you.
Like I said, deciding what I think about some things. We'll see.
All right.
Perfect.
I feel better about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I put up a poll question today.
Ooh.
It was in Sam McEwen's Rewind. He got asked about 6 wins. And then I read an email from Mark last week Because we were on the subject of the Northwestern game. I can't remember with who.
Oh yeah, we talked about that with somebody last week.
About
is this gonna? Oh, Schaefer. Is this gonna turn into the Illinois game last year,
Right.
where we're like leading up to it, like, oh boy,
where this is like
they lose this game,
This is
going to
be the linchpin
sucks.
to the entire season type game, and there's not been a lot of that talk right now. And Mark wrote, there's not a lot of talk about Northwestern game because most people know next year is a throwaway, and we fans are ready to lose and move on.
Wow, throwaway.
And does it feel like the bar of expectation is being artificially lowered already? I mean, we haven't even gotten to the spring game yet.
I mean, I don't know. I think it probably depends on. I want to see improvement. I want to see significant, clear-cut improvement. But I don't know that is. I don't know that I've got a number on wins. But I mean, a step in the right direction. First, honestly, I'm gonna have a hard time complaining about a step in the right direction here because it's continually been something other than that. And so, yeah, I know you guys are going to have higher expectations than I do for what what they do with the future of the program. But, and I'm saying this on March 28th, so maybe you guys can play this back to me in October and I'll say I was an idiot. But I mean, I'm desperate enough for improvement and things being a decent, a little bit better. That, I mean, that's what I've wanted year after year after year, and it hasn't come. So, yeah, there's a part of me. So 6 wins in a bowl game, that's the basement. I mean, that's the basement, but that's the beginning of it. Yeah.
Jack, you know what's interesting about 6-6 to me, because you just mentioned higher expectations. For me, 6-6 is a higher bar than I would set for the current program. Like, that is a higher expectation than I will have for the 2022 season. But I guess the question then that I would ask is, but is that good enough in year 5? If that makes sense. I don't think they're going to go to a bowl game, but if they do, so that would be above my expectation for the program at this juncture. But is that good enough for Nebraska football in year 5 of Scott Frost? I think those can be two separate things, right?
That can be.
I guess so, but the year 5 thing is kind. I mean, it's kind of throughout because it wasn't good enough in year 1, 2, 3, or 4. So like, I mean, you're not starting. Yeah, of course it's not good enough in year 5. But in the context of what's that, we've shifted the context of this whole discussion and decided to go forward. And yeah, so I don't, but of course not is the answer. Is it good enough in year 5?
Yeah.
But that's where we
the
are.
better question is it good enough for Trev Alberts in year 5?
Yeah.
That's the actual question.
Yeah. But just in terms of my expectations, they're lowered. Yes, they're absolutely lowered. There's no doubt about it.
Which is funny because we went back, you just go back even a couple of months, right? And people looked at the schedule as we always do. We always look at the schedule and say, well,
you're talking about the 2022 schedule?
Well, Northwestern win, Georgia Southern win.
Oklahoma, they could upset Oklahoma.
Right. Indiana win. I mean, they're checking off wins.
5-0.
And it was, and of course, the artificial date of October 1st when the mystery metrics kick in. And there were a lot of folks, at least in the moment, saying, well, heck, they could have the 6 wins, ahead of the, October 1st deadline for the contract change. And now we're talking about, just 6 wins period being some kind of a goal. I don't know. It just kind of feels to me that maybe it's being artificially tamped down a little bit, hoping that they'll actually be better.
I'm going to amend my answer. Requesting leave to I looked at the schedule again, and 6 is low. 6 is low after I go through the schedule. Northwestern, North Dakota, Georgia Southern, Oklahoma, Indiana, Rutgers, Purdue, Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa. 6 is low. 6 would be a disappointment. Sorry.
Even though they've had and I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I know that their record against those schools is horrible in the Frost era.
I mean, that's fine.
It's like a trash record against those.
But
schools.
I mean, okay, the Northwestern I'm doing what John said. Northwestern, North Dakota, Georgia Southern. Okay, I don't know if Northwestern's a coin flip or what, or how you consider it, but that should absolutely be 3. That should be 3-0, and then you have Indiana, Rutgers, Purdue after that. Okay, at Rutgers and at Purdue, and Illinois after that. So. Yeah, and that's before you get
might be a preseason favorite.
What's that
in the division? Purdue may be a preseason favorite in the division.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Top 3 at least.
Yeah, it's them in Iowa and Wisconsin.
Oh, I know it's Wisconsin, Josh. It's Wisconsin every year.
I'm just saying. So here it is. I
No,
found
I
it.
know
This
it's always Wisconsin's always going to be great. They're
that's true. This is from the Stumanji Sports Bureau, and I found this. So
The Stumanji Sports Bureau.
Scott Frost's record against Nebraska's 2022 schedule is 7-21. He doesn't have a winning record against. No, he does. Rutgers. He has a winning record against Rutgers. They're 1-0 against
1-0.
Rutgers. Everybody else is 2-2 or worse. Nebraska's record, by the way, since 2011 against their schedule is 33-40. So this is not. Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy. It's only a couple teams they have a winning record against.
It's because they've had a really bad run of lack of success against the division.
Oh yeah, their record against the division is horrific. Yeah.
Because even the so-called pushovers like Illinois, they're basically a game over 500 against Illinois. Is that
Against
right?
Illinois since 2011, they're 6-3, but in the Frost era, they're 2-2.
okay. Well, a bad history against Illinois does not convince me that Illinois is going to beat Nebraska or likely to beat Nebraska in Lincoln this year. So I mean, that's not super relevant for me at this point.
What about 2-2 in the Frost era?
Don't care. I mean, I don't even I don't understand how I play. This is a different team. These are different years. I don't get. I don't think something's. There's not something special about Illinois having Nebraska's number. It's about Nebraska sucking against almost everyone, Josh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to convince you. Why are you saying like artificially? Yeah, definitely way better than 6. Why?
Because of the schedule. Because I am going through the schedule point by point, Josh. North Dakota, Georgia Southern, Indiana at home, at Rutgers, at Purdue, Illinois. That's even without Northwestern and Oklahoma taken in. So, I mean, you've got to, yes, you in terms of expectations and what would make me happy, it is winning those games that it looks like you should win. And that doesn't even give you any of them that, Oklahoma or any of those. I'm not saying they're doing it. Okay. I'm not saying I'm confident they're doing it.
Okay.
But I'm saying 6 is not enough. With that schedule, I started out the show and I said 6 would be good. Improvement would be good. I'm amending that because of what the schedule looks like this year.
Okay. I apologize. I misunderstood what you were saying. My bad.
Okay.
So can we interpret then that you'll be on the Fire Frost train if they don't get to 6?
Oh, or if they don't get to 7, I guess is really what we're saying, isn't it, Jack? If you say 6 and 6 isn't good enough, that means they got to
be an iffy area.
Yeah. That would if you're looking at iffy, that's the worst record. 6 and 6 is horrible because they go to a bowl finally, but it's like, is that good enough?
Right.
Yeah. It's a dangerous record. You'd rather them be 7-5 or 5-7. But I said the same thing last year, and then they went 3-9.
True.
Yeah.
Good point.
I mean, it probably depends. 6 and 6 is the gray area, probably, I think.
Yeah.
Depending on
how they look.
On how it looks and how what the context is and are they going to a bowl game? Did they beat in Iowa, Michigan, any of those teams at the end of the year? That probably factors into all in that. But I think on the either direction, the other way, I think it's clear. So I don't know. That I mean, that's kind of my thought. Maybe, but usually once you start going through the season, it feels very different than the spring discussions.
It always does.
Yep. The spring discussions that you've got about win numbers. And that happened last year.
Exactly. If I would have told you on March 28th a year ago that they're going to go 3-9 and the head coach is going to be brought back, you would have said that's literally impossible. There's no way. And then it happened.
Yeah.
No, that is true.
Probably.
Okay. Well, there you go. We found out that Elton John is breaking news.
Yeah, we got a video of it, by the way. If we want to play, I sent a DM if we want to view it on the video stream from listener.
But I wonder if the audio will be clear enough. Because is it taken by
I believe it's taken from him. I think taken from him at the arena.
Well, the audio will be. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to download this for just a second. So please talk some more.
Here, I got an email, Jack, about you and the concert from John. He says, wow, Jack was sitting in ultra premium seating at the Elton John concert. What are his thoughts on Biden's proposed mandatory minimum tax on billionaires?
That's good. I'm glad you asked.
And hey, this is something you need to start
you got to
talking
practice about this,
Yeah,
Congressman.
Yeah.
I'm working with my team. We've got to run some of the numbers on this. So, I just want the American dream to be possible for everyone.
That was a great politician answer. Said a lot without saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a shoo-in, I think.
Yeah. You sound as clueless as the rest of them.
Probably. Watch out, Flood. I'm coming.
All right. Let's see if this will play. I'm going to hit this. Well, obviously, you have the video up.
All right, here we go.
So this is what it sounded like last night at the Elton John concert. Jack's going to have flashback.
Listen, how are the Oscars? I hear there was drama and that Will Smith punched Chris Rock.
As always, Elton, you are completely plugged into whatever's going on in the world. How did you do that while you were singing?
Someone just told me. And did he knock him out?
No, it's just a good swing to the chops. Just a friendly little jab. But we've missed you. It's been amazing. And we've had so much fun. And the boys actually have just gone home. They were.
I forgot. Yeah, Elton's husband tried to Elton wanted to keep talking about it, and his husband was like, "All right, we got to move on here."
Thank you to Eve for sending that to us. That's awesome.
Just a playful shot to the chops. I mean,
That's such a good spouse interaction, by the way. I love that.
Oh, the English.
It was pretty funny.
That's great.
There you go. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I'm sad you didn't get any of the tchotchkes, any of the sparkly glasses or the T-shirts, and it's almost like you weren't there.
At least get a tour shirt, Jack. What are you doing?
Like I said, I didn't see any merch tables.
He was sitting with the hoity-toity.
He was waiting for the gift bag. He was waiting for the gift bag that has all the stuff.
He was too busy with this complimentary champagne and hot menthol towel.
Seriously,
that I did not get. Those the prices for the food and beverage were still up there.
Yeah, understandably so.
Too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Well,
there
see
he
you
is.
later.
Bye, Jack. Love you, Jack.
There he is, Jack Mitchell, from the Elton John show last night,
Mm-hmm.
among other things.
We got some responses to our discussion about the
about the 6 wins.
that we can discuss.
We can dive into those. 402-951-1620. Also more on the Final Four teams.
Hell yeah.
Creighton making its run, coming up a little bit short last night, and more. And Steve Sipple still to come.
Oh, nice.
Right here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. You know, we just played a video from the Elton John concert last night in Lincoln. In this video, which we appreciate from a friend of the program, E, for sending it along. Well, E was sitting kind of high up at the arena. And when you go to a concert like that, you know, thankfully, of course, they're going to have the big screen, but I imagine you want to pay attention as much as possible to the actual artist, whether it's an Elton John, whether it's a singer in a group that you like, whomever it is, the drummer, the guitar player, the bass player. See, Nick, I'm naming instruments. You want to be able to see, oh, hey, those are only 4 strings on that. That's a bass. There are more strings on that. That means it's a guitar. No matter where I'm sitting in the arena, I am able to do so without needing to look at the big screen. And that is, of course, because over 4 years ago now, I went to Kugler Vision, had the consultation, I believe, in January, had the procedure that following February. Game changer. Changed my life for the better. Time for you to do the same. 402-558-2211. That's the phone number to give them a call. You can also visit their website on the desktop or on your phone at kuglervision.com. Answer just a few simple questions about that consultation process. You go in, they'll figure out which of their 7 procedures is going to work best for you. And whether you're sitting in the cheap seats all the way at the top, or you're hanging out with folks like Jack Mitchell in the high-end seats, you're going to be able to see that artist perform incredibly well. 402-558-2211 or at their website, kuglervision.com.
Zone, taste of our takes. Sharp and Betting in the morning.
The head coach in Nebraska is Will Bolton. He joins us now on Sharp and Betting in the morning. You're going to coach a real full season in year number 3. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Yeah. We got jokes, Coach.
You know what? You're not wrong, though. I deal in absolute truth in my world, and that you're not lying. So we're fired up to be able to play a full season.
For more, tune in every day to 1620 a.m. or go to 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Sun and clouds Monday, more mild with highs near 55 degrees, but breezy. Gusts possible out of the southeast in excess of 25 miles an hour. Expect high fire danger Monday, mostly cloudy tonight and mild with a low near 38. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, isolated showers with a chance of storms after 5 p.m. p.m. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KATV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
If you're passionate about coffee, you should consider a career at Host Coffee as a valued service technician to install, repair, and rebuild state-of-the-art commercial coffee, iced tea, espresso, juice, cappuccino machines, and water coolers. Apply today and join our team at hostcoffee.net/careers.
Just in time for those last remaining snowstorms and soon-to-be-here spring cleanups, Ty's Outdoor Power Superstores are hosting an open house from March 15th through April 15th, online and at our Omaha, Gretna, and Lincoln locations. Visit us for discounts on Steel, Honda, Toro, and more. 10% off parts for commercial customers. Over $5,000 total in weekly giveaways. And a giant selection of in-stock Hustler zero-turn mowers. For more open house details, just give us a call, stop by, or visit TysOutdoorPower.com today.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
Thousands of people contact InventHelp monthly about their invention or new product. Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Call InventHelp now. Best of all, the call and information are free. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential, explaining every step of the invention process. Join people just like you who made the call to InventHelp.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
You can join us every week for the Sharp and Betting podcast. It's Sharp and Betting. We got a podcast driven by our good friends at Woodhouse Auto Family.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is we'll get more in depth on a lot of your favorite topics, have a guest or two, and just might drop some nuggets of information that you've never heard before.
Wherever you get your podcasts, just look for Sharp and Betting. We got a podcast driven by Woodhouse Auto Family each Friday. You can find it on the Sharp and Betting show page on 1620thezone.com. It's Sharp and Betting. We got a podcast.
Get the lowest rates of the year at GenesisHealthClubs.com. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct
I'm J-Dog.
on 1620 The Zone.
All right, real quick, further responses. Brad tweeted in, this was about the ginger celebrity stuff earlier. He says, John's example of ginger celebs doesn't really work. There aren't any ginger A-listers. ... laugh emoji.
See, once again, Ravi has his list of the approved ailments that you can still make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
My people are the last people that it's
Just
still
a hair color,
totally acceptable
Is
to make fun
ScarJo
of.
not a redhead?
She is.
She is.
Is she?
Yes.
Good for Scarlett.
We're counting her.
I think it's fair to say ScarJo's an A-lister.
Yeah, I would agree, Nick. There you go. You got
Is that a
one.
hot take?
Got
Thank
one.
you.
No, I think that's fair. She's in all
See,
the Marvel
watch
movies.
yourself next year, Chris Rock. You make a Scarlett Johansson joke, I'm gonna find
Are
my
you
way
gonna
to
fly
LA.
LA?
I'm gonna punch you.
Damn.
I'm gonna hit you.
Damn.
I'm gonna knock you out.
Wow.
You jerk. I wonder if Chris Rock will ever be invited to do the do any kind of Oscars anymore.
If he is, it'll be a while.
Which is unfair because, I mean, he's not the one that really was the bad guy in this, in my opinion.
Exactly. He told a joke.
He told a joke.
Told a joke.
Would Will Smith have done that if Ricky Gervais had said the joke?
Great question.
I don't think he would have.
Great question. I don't know.
And then our professor from New York really would have been torn because it would have been
black on white crime.
Exactly.
See, and that's the thing too. Like, now I didn't watch all the Oscars last night, but they also were making they were making other jokes earlier. Like, there's all sorts of inappropriate.
Well, they always
jokes.
make jokes.
That's what the whole thing is.
The whole thing is it's not the whole thing, but
Man, imagine if Norm Macdonald would have been speaking.
Exactly.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
But man, he said some stuff at the
Yes, he
ESPYs,
did.
The best monologue of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, someone on Twitter or YouTube's Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's one of my people.
Ed Sheeran is awesome.
Is he an A-lister though?
He was in Game of Thrones.
He's been in a few movies.
I don't think.
He was in that Beatles movie.
He's a famous singer.
Yesterday or whatever.
Yes, he was in Yesterday.
Jeff says 100% Chris Rock announces next year and comes out. I think he means hosts next year and comes out with full boxing headgear on and bodyguards. That would actually be pretty fun.
It would be funny.
That'd be great if he showed up like that.
Did you guys see the
I'm
video?
here.
I slid into your DMs.
Oh, no, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It's Chris Rock's reaction.
Is it real?
It has the same vibe as like a WWE promo.
Mm-hmm. So not real.
I don't know.
Okay.
And that's
Todd says Nicole Kidman.
See,
she's a redhead.
We have
Is she still an A-lister?
See,
we have
the crossover of redhead to blonde. It seems to be like a fine line. I asked about Larry Bird earlier. What is Larry Bird?
What about Plemons? Is he a redhead?
See, I think he is a redhead because he was at least when he was on Friday
and he
Night
was
Live.
nominated again. We're taking over the
Emma
world.
Stone.
Emma Stone. Now she's a redhead, and I bet she's an A-lister.
Absolutely.
She's an A-lister. There you go. You got a few, John.
I
happy
got
for
a
you.
lot.
All right,
There's
cool.
dozens
I got a lot.
There are
So-
dozens
So
of
there's
us.
the list.
Awesome.
Chris Rock. You make no jokes about any of them.
All right. About
Or
the
we're going to
redheads?
rise up and come after you.
Wow.
It'll be after midnight
When you guys are able to actually...
when we're actually able to go outside and chase you
I
down. But we will chase you
You're
down.
making these jokes. Some would be offended by the daywalkers.
Some would be offended, but you see, I can make those jokes because they're my people.
So I can't make them, or you'll be offended.
No,
you little
that's
baby?
how it works. Don't you pay attention in this country?
I'm gonna keep making fun of you for being a redhead.
Ah,
It's fun to me.
because you're a ginger racist.
No, I work with
There's
you.
a little red in your beard, Josh.
Oh, there's a lot of red in
I
my
know.
beard.
And when he first discovered it,
Oh, I was pissed.
It triggered him.
Oh, I was so mad because John was like, because I had noticed it in the mirror and I was like, oh, what's going on with this? And then John goes, is your beard red?
Mhm.
And I go, yeah. So that's why, a lot of people, speaking of getting triggered, they get very triggered when they start going gray. Bring it on. I don't care. I want my beard to go gray. It'd be better than having a red beard.
You
It's
want
just
that
weird
salt
because
and
it's
pepper.
red and then brown. It's just different. It's different.
I
What if
thought,
I
I
dyed
thought your
my-
generation was all about that being different.
I don't want my
With the
my
tattoos
beard.
and all the
I have
weird
tattoos.
stuff
With
and the
the
colored hairs. And
I have tattoos, but I wish my beard and hair color were the same.
Oh.
Whether it was red
so
or
it's
brown.
okay to deface your body, but when your hair naturally comes in as a red color, you're
I'm
offended.
disappointed. Yeah.
Oh.
Keith, another one. Ron Howard and Bryce Dallas Howard, the daughter of Ron Howard.
Oh, I didn't know Ron Howard's daughter was famous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's an actress.
Oh,
yeah, she's been in some stuff.
I did not.
She looks like. Now I'm gonna forget her name.
Can we call?
Who does she look like, Nick? Did she win last night?
Like Ron
Jessica
Howard's-
Chastain.
I
No,
didn't
Jessica
watch it.
Chastain and Bryce Dallas Howard. They look seriously. Google them. You'll be like, wait, this is not the same person? You'll be blown away.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for
I'm
it.
sorry. I know we were going to talk about Husker football. but
Please, go
wait
ahead.
Well, should
All
do
right.
it- do it
Well,
We
next?
should go to break first.
We'll
Let's do
wait for it
next.
on the other side.
All right. There'll be a perfect lead up to Sipple.
And a perfect lead up to Sipple.
Is Nebraska going 6-6? That's the question. Or is 6-6 good enough? That's
well,
the other
it's,
question.
yeah, is 6-6 an acceptable goal?
For
this
whatever
year?
reason, it does seem like maybe it's because basketball's almost over and Husker basketball is definitely over. It seems like we've crossed, and baseball sucks. It seems like we've crossed over into the
Oh, we haven't even gotten
Rubicon.
in that.
We've crossed the Rubicon into football season again. And it's like,
it's way too early, isn't
I know, but doesn't it seem that way that it just kind of flipped?
it?
Something happened. Maybe it was that slap. A lot of people are like that slap changed a lot of things. Maybe it was like football season. That's what happened last night.
You might
I
be
do
onto
feel like I
something.
have more football takes today for whatever reason. I have no idea why.
Hmm.
We've kind of avoided them, and now I got some opinions.
Yeah, and they haven't even done anything.
I know.
Well, they practiced, but
Yeah.
we've never seen it.
We're not allowed. They don't allow us there.
No, which is fine. I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'd like to go. I was moving this weekend though, so I couldn't have gone. On
No, you
Saturday.
couldn't have gone.
Yeah, I was
There's
busy.
no way you could have
Yeah,
gone.
she wouldn't have let me do that, understandably so.
Well, Maybe one of the reasons why Will Smith was so frustrated is because he needs the help of Brookside Medical Clinic. See, I can make those jokes. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't work that way. ED meds have been proven to work to fix erectile dysfunction. But do you want to time everything to the taking of a pill? Of course not, because you never know. You never know when it's time to perform. Well, the advanced wave technology at Brookside Medical has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and regrow blood vessels. That helps improve blood flow and restores the normal, natural erectile function. You call right now, 402-671-7777. Such an easy number to remember. Tell them you heard this spot on The Zone, and you can get a free consultation and blood flow ultrasound. That's right, free. So you can find out exactly what the problem is. And then if the advanced wave technology is what you're into, it's non-invasive, it's non-surgical, and it works. And then you don't have to worry about the pill anymore. Call today, 402-671-7777 for Brookside Medical Clinic. Take advantage of the free consultation and blood flow ultrasound at Brookside Medical, 402-671-7777.
Baskets, brackets, and buckets. Oh, hell yeah. That can only mean one thing. College basketball on 1620 The Zone.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on food that's fresher than fresh? Then shop at Baker's. We give you more ways to save on the fresh you love with tools like the Baker's app, where you can find personalized coupons on top of weekly sales, giving you prices that are lower than the everyday low. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
Now you can earn 2 times the fuel points on all your purchases through Tuesday, March 29th. Just clip your coupon, shop, and save. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Pandemic-impacted homeowners may be at risk of losing their homes, which is why the state of Nebraska is providing relief through the Homeowner Assistance Fund. Qualified homeowners can receive up to $30,000 in assistance for past due mortgage payments, past due real estate taxes, HOA dues, and homeowners or flood insurance. Funds will be distributed until they run out, and they do not need to be paid back. View qualifications and apply today at NebraskaHAF.com. That's NebraskaHAF.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
So I gave you the poll question earlier, and we've had a few folks respond, and you're more than welcome to do so as well. Just head to the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. But when you read 6 wins being a reasonable goal for Husker football in 2022, your first reaction is 43% nod with sad approval. 27%, almost 28%, roll eyes.
Okay.
20%, slap somebody.
Whoa.
9% agree heartily.
So what is slap somebody like? Why are you slapping somebody? They're like, you're saying, no, that's too low or that's too high.
Well, it's interesting you mention that because you could actually read a lot of things into all 4 of those.
This is I didn't really know exactly how to view all of these responses because in a way I could see all of them meaning the same thing and all of them meaning different things. One of your more confusing poll questions. An atypical Bob Bishop poll question.
But many people have responded.
Yeah, I voted, and I already want to rescind my vote. I think, what was the second option?
Roll eyes.
No, that's what I voted. I think I'm the first option.
Nod
I voted
with
roll
sad
eyes.
approval.
Yeah. That sounds about right for where this program is at right now. But I think, again, you have to view it in kind of two different buckets. You can say, like, wow, for me, that would surprise me. Wow, they go 6-6. That would surprise me. There hasn't been any evidence the last few years to show me that that's a thing that can be
That's
done.
possible.
But on the other hand, say, like, is this good enough for what Nebraska still wants to be? Still wants to be, not what they are now currently, but still wants to be. I like this tweet, and I like it more nodding under, and understanding. Max says, how have people not noticed that Nebraska is the easy team on the schedule? Seriously, flipping it. But
to a lot of people, they have been.
That's why I don't like, because I'll read Jed's response too. He says, for a team coached by the guy that is 15-29, no game is a should win when just looking at the schedule. You need to also look at the team taking the field. And that's the thing. Too often still, somehow, in 2022, the year of our Lord, people will say, it's Indiana, win. It's Rutgers, win. It's Illinois, win. When that just hasn't been the case.
No, it hasn't.
Can't do that anymore.
You can't. You can't, which is what has made everything so difficult to try to forecast.
Mm-hmm.
Because in a way, when we forecast, we're still looking at it through the prism of history.
Yep.
And Nebraska's history is better than Illinois, better than Indiana, better than Northwestern, better than fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And yet, recent history has said something completely different.
Yeah.
I'm torn on this. Because when I first read that, and again, what I'm referring back to is there was a question asked of Sam in his mailbag today on his rewind column. And the question was, at what point will wins and losses matter? Is 6-6 the new goal?
Mm-hmm.
And Sam wrote, it's a reasonable program goal for 2022. And that'll bother some Husker fans who see the teams around them, Iowa State, Minnesota, Kansas State, winning more than 6, while Nebraska collects merit badges for being competitive.
It's a good way to describe it.
It's a great way to describe it because last year deserved 0 merit badges.
And yet it seemingly got a ton of them.
It did.
Because they tried hard and they were in close games.
Right.
The way in which they lost in 2007 and that season going way off the rails, and the way in which they lost in 2017 and some of those losses going off the rails in last year's for Callahan and Mike Riley, that I think warped brain so much that it was a positive that, hey, at least they're trying hard in there, Whereas for me, I'm not going to, and once again, I think it so often with you and I comes down to being pro sports fans, especially. I'm not giving Dallas a bunch of credit. Hey, they lost to the Niners by a score, though, John. They were in the game at the very end. I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to me. They lost.
They lost.
In the end, it's about winning and it's about losing. And if you lose a bunch of close games, you are a losing team, not a team that is like almost there. It's not what it means.
No, that's true.
Especially in year 4.
That's true.
John emails in. Jack is right. Nebraska sucks against everyone under Frost. So how does he think that 6 wins is low? Nebraska will be lucky to win 4 games, which means we'll be lucky and Frost will be fired. It can't happen soon enough.
Yeah, I think that's part of it too, is how many people are going to look at the turnover and see it as a fresh beginning, which it has been couched as a fresh beginning in some circles.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean,
it goes back to the 2-year possibility, right? I think that's playing a part.
It's when you read about, how Frost has changed some of his ways, how he's pulled back completely from the offensive install, how he's more of a delegator. And then, you've turned over a lot of the staff. And dare I say, recruiting momentum is, even though it's not recruiting at the same level as Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, based on where it was, the bar was set so low at this time last year in terms of recruiting momentum.
Bingo.
That anything resembling effort at this point seems like, a 180-degree turn. But in all fairness, they do have momentum on the recruiting side of things. Again, not to the same degree as Alabama and Georgia, but they're not going to recruit at that level, at least not anytime in the foreseeable future. But you look at all of those different things, and then you juxtapose it with, 6-6. And I get it. 6 wins would be the high bar, would be the high water mark, and would get you to a bowl game. But then you're reminded of the words of Bill Moose. You just need to get to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out it was one of the few things he was right about. They just needed to get to 6, but no one was willing to
said
think.
that before
no
year
one was,
2, right?
Yes. No one was willing to think that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, in a way,
no one was willing to think that way.
And look, this is me really lowering the bar on a lot, but in a way, there's something to be said for recognizing where you are and being happy with that. I heard a conversation over the weekend between a Florida fan and a Texas fan, and the Florida fan was saying something along the lines of like,
"This sounds like the beginning of a joke." By the way.
Did I appreciate the Urban Meyer run as much as I should have? And the answer, of course, was no. Whereas one loss would you go into this dark place as a sports fan. And the Texas fan was kind of lamenting that with Mac Brown, saying they underachieved basically, every year but one or maybe even 2. And yet those programs they would love those days again. They would love the Mac Brown, that stretch where they won 10 or more games all the time. The Urban Meyer years, they would love that. The Steve Spurrier years, they would love and appreciate that. And so Nebraska now has gotten so far into this, deep, dark place. 6 wins. Look, there wouldn't be a parade, but there would be a lot of happiness and a lot of joy around here, given it's been since 2016.
Sure.
You could talk yourself into it being the promise of something more. While I think it's just weird, right? There has to be a balance of being happy about it, but also saying we still need to aim for more. And I think they would, but I think people would be happy about it.
It really depends on where your mindset is. Is your mindset, because you said it in the question with Jack, year 5, which is true. This is year 5. Or are you looking at this as a reset and it's really year 1B? We've had 1 through 5A now because of the changes that have been made and the mystery metrics that are out there and all of those other things.
Yeah.
And a new athletic director. This will be his first full, he went through his full season, but this is Trev's first full year on the job.
Yes.
Where he's really had a chance to, help cast his influence on the football program.
Mm-hmm.
Is this really year 1B?
Well, in a way, I think how you answer that question kind of tells me how you really feel about the program. Because if you're saying it's year 5, you're either somebody who is, look, I don't even want to say negative. You're just like, this is what this program is. It's year 5. If you are if this is year 1 again for you, that it just tells me you're just kicking the can down the road and you're just going to move the goalpost.
Well, sure. You are kicking the can down the road, and you're also hopeful that, this new combination
still needs more time with these guys.
Yes.
That becomes
that this new combination. Well, we got years 1 through 4.5 with Frost and Moose, but now we have Frost and Trev, and it's different.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong on either side. I'm just saying how you look at that question of 6-6, I think kind of depends on where you're seeing. Is this the 5th year under Frost, or is it year 1B in the new Frost order?
Yeah.
And I still do believe in kind of a way, when I mentioned a few months ago that this is almost feels like a 2-year question again. I'm kind of leaning towards the latter, that it's really 1B. And maybe that's unfair. But when I see how Frost's situation was handled by Trev and Fred Hoiberg's situation was handled by Trev, there seems to be this desire for 2 things. One, to go against the grain of what college and professional sports have become, of, well, you get a couple 3 years, and if you can't turn around, on to the next one. And the other is this fiscal responsibility component of not, wanting to pay off these huge buyouts. Because, by the way, Next year's buyout still going to be decent sized.
Yeah, it's not like
even
it goes
with
from
the,
20
even with
to
the mystery
3.
metric contract, it's still going to be a decent sized buyout.
Well, yeah, I was going to say once you get past October, it's still, what, 10
Still,
somewhere
I think it's
10
still,
or 11 somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not
still
like
a
it goes
decent
down
buyout.
to like $5 million.
Higher than any other buyout Nebraska's paid, I think, right? What was Riley's buyout?
I think it's higher than Riley's, yeah.
Yeah. So it's
not cheap. I mean, compared to some other, firings that we've seen, it's cheap, but
no, that's true.
Not compared to what Nebraska's done in the past.
That's true. Steve Sipple will join us. I want to get Sip's thoughts on. We have not talked Xavier Betts yet.
No, we have not.
I want to get his thoughts on that. But also, he's a big boxing guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's disappointed in Will Smith last night.
Especially he played Ali.
As a guy who had to learn at least the rudimentary elements of fighting when he played that role.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was playing the greatest boxer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time.
And he slapped him.
And if you watch, it was kind of a stiff slap.
Yeah. Was it floating like a butterfly or stinging like a bee?
The slap?
Yeah.
All I know is
right?
I was waiting for when Will walked back from the slap to go over to the bongo drums and go, "The champ is here! The champ is here!" And then start a chant of "Ale, Boomaye, Ale, Boomaye." From the movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it still.
Oh, you haven't? That's right.
No,
I
haven't seen it. Yeah.
Oh,
if it's streaming, we do it for the movie club.
You should, and then you'll see what it looks like when Will Smith actually does hit somebody. And it's still a work. Steve Sipple is next on 1620 The Zone. But 1620 The beer's here. It's here. There's cans behind Josh.
Yeah.
But it's on tap right now. Fernando's 75th and Pacific and the Crescent Moon on Farnham. Go to 1620thezone.com and keep telling us where you want to see 1620 The beer. It's like 1620 The Zone, but with more alcohol.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, a stall has the shoulder blocked on westbound I-80 over in Counts Bluffs at the South Expressway exit, so be ready for a few delays through there. Otherwise, slow going on southbound 72nd between Giles and Cornhusker. And if you're north on 84th, a little bit of a delay between Centennial and Giles. I'm Mike Neville.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's. Fernando's has your fix for Lent, and we're not talking about the same old fish sandwich here. Fernando's has shrimp quesadillas, blackened Alaska street tacos, and baked tilapia. Get your Fernando's fix at 114th and Dodge or 75th and Pacific. FernandosOmaha.com.
Email Sharp and Benning on Equitable Bank inbox with your love, your hate, whatever your hot takes are. We're here for you. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
For Creighton Sports News, tune into Blue Jay Banter every Monday night at 6. And if 1 hour isn't enough for your Blue Jay fix, check out BlueJayBanter.com. Get up-to-the-minute recruiting news, commentary, and chat with other Blue Jay fans. That's Blue Jay Banter, Monday night at 6 on 1620 The Zone.
You can join us every week for the Sharp and Benning podcast. It's Sharp and Benning. We got a podcast driven by our good friends at Woodhouse Auto Family.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is we'll get more in depth on a lot of your favorite topics, have a guest or two, and just might drop some nuggets of information that you've never heard before.
Wherever you get your podcasts, just look for Sharp and Benning. We got a podcast driven by Woodhouse Auto Family each Friday. You can find it on the Sharp and Benning show page on 1620thezone.com. At Sharp and Benning, we got a podcast.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
I think we can settle into mediocre radio for a little bit here.
I called in from Lincoln. I was driving in my car, covering the Huskers, writing for the Journal Star. We talk every Monday at this time. I'm a friend of the program and they are mine. Hoiberger's bad, but Frost is fine. My name's Stipple and I'm all right.
I mean, I stressed threesome.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen M. Sipple of your Lincoln Journal Star. Hello, Sip.
What's on your guys' minds today?
Lots of stuff, man.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Is 6 wins a reasonable goal in 2022?
No, I don't think so. No.
Too high or too low? I'm serious.
Yeah.
I wasn't even trolling.
Yeah, you're trolling. Too low. No, that's not a. I would say that. I mean, it's not. That's not the kind of goal you set in year 5 of a head coach's tenure. No, I wouldn't. I don't think anybody would say that, would they?
Well, the reason I asked what it was asked in Sam's mailbag today.
No one would say it. Well, Sam McHugh would say it.
Well, I don't know if he said it as if it was his.
No, he said it's a reasonable program goal for 2022.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think it's a number that could get the staff another year, but that's a lot different than it being a goal.
Well, I would hope it'd get him another year. That'd be double the wins from last year.
Well, you would hope. I mean, no, I'm not. I mean, I don't know that it would. I don't know that it would get him another year, by the way. But you'd be in that ballpark. I think that's the ballpark you want to be in at the minimum. But no, I'd never, ever call it a goal. 6 wins for Nebraska? No, it's not a goal.
It's interesting you say that, Sip. And while I certainly agree with your sentiment, 6 is, we talked at the end of last year about the politics of firing Scott Frost and just the tricky waters that Trev would have walked himself into had he ultimately made that decision. I wonder if the politics are even murkier if you fire the same coach, but after he finally goes to a bowl game and gets them to 6-6. Just wondering, just reading the tea leaves of things, I imagine that there would be a lot of anger from a large subset of the fan base.
If you fired him with 6 wins?
Yep.
It'd be a very confused fan base. It would be it'd be split, I imagine.
Yep.
And all that makes sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to say it's a goal. It would be a tricky time for Trev, for sure. I don't even, and you know how this goes. You know how these conversations go. What's the 6 look like?
Yep, sure.
Did they start 1-5 and finish 5-1 and beat Iowa and Wisconsin? Then it's different. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see a scenario where 6 gets this staff another year, for sure. But I wouldn't. I don't think. I mean, if you want to make distinctions, I don't know that 5 would. So I think 6 seems like a bare minimum to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we haven't seen practice, but by many accounts, it seems as if Frost has pulled way back from the offensive install portion of spring football. Is that your opinion? And if so, would that have surprised you a couple of months ago before all of this started?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know if he's pulled way back. He's pulled back. He's still involved. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to split hairs with you, John. He's pulled back.
Right.
But
maybe a better question then is, Sip, has it surprised you how much he has been willing to seemingly pull back? You
know what? I'm operating from a difficult standpoint because I'm not in those meetings.
Right.
I'm not in the meetings and I don't see practice. So I don't even know how much he's pulled back or not pulled back, or I just go by what people have said.
Mm-hmm.
Whipple, I mean, I know okay, I'll just say things I know. Whipple's in charge of the offense. Scott his input is valuable, and Scott. Well, let's put it this way: Scott just last Thursday said he called plays for a portion of the practice, which doesn't indicate to me he's pulled way back.
Okay.
Whipple called plays also in that Thursday practice. So Frost is still calling plays at times. Now you balance that against something that Mickey Joseph has said, which I found kind of humorous in a twisted way. He said that we still want Scott to be involved. We still want him to come into the meetings, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be great because he's the head coach and he should be able to be in any meeting he wants. But I don't. Yeah, so it's John. It's a real frustrating spring from a media standpoint in the sense that we don't see practice. The guys are purposely, if you listen to Noeli on Thursday or Brock Bando, they purposely keep things pretty close to the vest. Or listen to Donovan Raiola. He just doesn't tip his hand on hardly anything, not even really on personnel very much. You got to listen to Donovan Raiola's interview. He won't give it up. He won't give you much at all. And I think that's the tack they're taking. So unless you see it, a lot of this just springs from the imagination.
Sip, going into their spring break, so a couple of weeks ago, camp had been seemingly very quiet. Like I would say that, Whipple saying what he did about Casey Thompson on like day 1 or 2 or whatever it was, that was probably the biggest storyline that we had all kind of heard. Otherwise, it had been really quiet. Now, just a couple of weeks later, tight end room, is seemingly in shambles because of some injuries, and we still don't know exactly what's going on. Of course, Xavier Betts, he was the biggest story of last week. And then today, I don't know what your reaction was, but some of the quotes about the defense and tackling, especially coming off of last week, they raised my alarm bells a little bit. Does it seem like things have gotten a lot more tense in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I'd say there's more tension for sure. And that's to be expected. I mean, Josh, we've been talking about this stuff a lot, you, I, and John, and we've said it, I've said it many times, this spring, there's an urgency attached to every day.
Yep.
And that's real. It's not real for us. It's not, we're not over there. Our jobs aren't on the line. But if my job was on the line, I would think every one of the 15 practices has to be pretty meaningful. And anytime there seems to be some degree of slacking, it would be hard to stomach, I would think. Now that's but here's the thing. Here's the rub on that is the kids they don't have to think that way. So you're gonna get some guys that their attention comes and goes sometimes. And some guys might have come back off a spring break not fully ready to go. And as a coach, you're ready, but sometimes those guys their jobs aren't on the line. So it's everybody's coming from a little different perspective. But as far as the coaches go, yeah, there's going to be tension.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, they got to win. I mean, I just said they got to win at least 6, which they haven't come close. I mean, I guess they come like 5, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I've felt that. I'd say the last 3 or 4 times I've been over there, I felt like the tension rose dramatically. But it'd be really strange, Josh, if it was a very relaxed spring.
I found myself disappointed in the way that fans and some in the media kind of brushed off when J.D. Spielman left the program and said, they'll be fine. And the same with Wan'Dale Robinson. How do you think, assuming that Xavier Betts continues to stay out, do you think we'll be as close to ho-humming the Xavier Betts departure, or does that one just hit differently because of where he's from and, the potential that we've seen in him?
Yeah, that's a good question. All 3 matters, and I always try to do this. I don't like to lump everything together, and I would not lump those 3 things. JD's situation was much different than Wan'Dale's, and this is much different than either of them. Xavier Betts' situation. JD, I mean, hey, listen, JD wasn't all in on the program, all right? I said on your show, I said it a lot, I wrote it.
Mhm.
That made sense for both parties for that to end. That was just something that needed to end for both sides. Wandale, that was a much different situation. I mean, I think that we all know what the deal was there. He didn't really like the way he was being used.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you listen to Wandale, and I mean, I tend to believe Wandale, his mother's health was an issue. There was nothing like that in JD's situation. And then Xavier, that much different than those. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just pretty much, you can't play this sport if you're half in. And I'm not saying he's half in. I don't know what he's in, but he's not all the way in. I mean, I know that if he wanted to practice today or last week, he could have. There was nothing stopping him from doing it. There was no restriction. There's no legal issue. There's no grade issue. There's no disciplinary issue. So it is what it is. There's probably a lot that goes on, and I'm not judging Xavier Betts harshly at all, because it's hard you can't judge a young man because you don't know what's going on exactly in his mind and in his life. So I don't know where all that will go. I don't suspect that Xavier Betts will be a Husker. And we'll see what happens with him. I just hope the best for him. I hope, and I think he'll be fine based on what I've heard.
Sip, changing gears. I think back to a couple months ago when we would just do the initial, like, hey, what are the question marks that they're going to have? If you just go position group wise, I imagine most people's top 3 or 4 would include both the offensive line and the defensive line. So I wonder, when you hear that the offensive line rather is firing off the ball better, it seems like they're having success versus this defensive line. How does that land to you? Do you view that more glass half full with the offensive line, or more glass half empty with the defensive line and the concerns that you have for them?
Real good question. I mean, seriously, these are good. And I want to go back to Xavier for a
Yeah, go ahead.
Before I answer that. Now, this has to be made clear. The program will continue to take care of Xavier Betts.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a situation where one's turning the back on the other. Nebraska has done all they could for Xavier, and they will continue to do that. I know that. And the other part, I'll tell you what the second question is about to me is Donovan Raiola. I mean, I know that hire. There's a lot of skepticism because of his resume, I guess. I love the hire, and everything that I've heard so far suggests exactly what I expected, that the mentality would change, the way of operating would change. I mean, I talked to Harry Easton, who was the Notre Dame offensive line coach. In Donovan, Donovan was a GA there for Harry, and Harry was with the Chicago Bears, and he laid it out to me what Donovan's going to do, and Donovan has done everything that Harry told me, and it's what Scott wanted. Was a line that comes off the ball and strikes people, and that's their philosophy. That's their general approach. And you can't really say that was the philosophy of Greg Austin. So, we get into that. I know we get into the conversation, well, why didn't you make the change before? Me and Josh talked about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really reach a tipping point till last season. The offensive line wasn't terrible in 2020. It wasn't fireable, I didn't think. And last year we all saw that a change needed to be made, and then it was made. So, I'm not surprised by it. Now, the one thing, Josh, I would say is, yeah, am I a little concerned about the D-line? Yeah, I'd probably say I'm a little more than a little concerned.
Yeah.
About the D-line.
That Mike Dawson quote today was revealing.
Yeah, they got to figure a lot of stuff out up front. I mean, if you're a Nebraska fan, you just hope that those young guys, Mosiah Newsome, Marquise Black, Laquan Buckley, Jalen Weaver, Colton Beast, those sort of guys really, really raise their game. Meanwhile, you hope that Ty Robinson and Casey Rogers go to a higher level. I mean, come on now. I mean, what are we talking about? This is a situation to probably watch more closely than any right now. They have to be good up front.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hide that stuff. So, come on now. I mean, look at what happened to Pelini. Pelini had a good front four, and man, they got ravaged at times in the Big Ten. And I don't know, that game against Wisconsin last year is fresh in my mind where that Wisconsin running back averaged 10 yards of carry.
A freshman.
You can't. This is not. You can't be just sort of okay in that area in the Big Ten, right? Not in this league. So, yeah, you hope that those guys I talked about, those names are really important names right now. There's a lot of urgency attached to those names.
I'm curious, Sip, last week, Trev Alberts on his radio show talked about, and he mentioned it before, but he got in a little bit more detail last week about the rebranding of the athletic programs.
Yeah.
He wanted a consistent look among all the teams. And knowing how tradition heavy fans are about football, does this mean that pretty much everybody else is going to follow football's lead when it comes to how the team looks? Because when you look at the basketball and the volleyball uniforms and most of the other sports, they all do kind of follow a certain theme.
Mm-hmm.
But football kind of stands out as different.
Yeah, I love it. I love what Trev Alberts is doing there. I love the all green field. I love what he's talking about with the uniforms. When I think about it, guys, think Michigan, think Penn State. Think about
classic
Michigan's basketball uniform. Well, yeah, we know classic football uniforms, but also think about Penn State's basketball uniform. Think about Michigan's basketball uniform. They don't mess around too much at all with scripts and wearing different ones every other game. I go figure. I like just the traditional looks of those like Wisconsin. I like the way Wisconsin does it. And I think that's what Trev's talking about, the Michigans, the Wisconsins, Penn State, and not jacking around with looks. So yeah, I love it. I think that's long. I think that's really long overdue, in my opinion.
I think one of the things that impresses me most, Sip, about Trev is that he's come in and it's like he recognized something immediately that we had been talking about for years. Like, I don't know how many times John and I have discussed the stadium and how to improve the stadium. And then listeners interact with us and they have all these ideas. And it's like nothing ever changed. And Trev, he showed up and immediately is like, how can we fix this? This needs to be better. What could we do differently? And so he's even diving into something, I don't want to say uniforms are simple because people have a lot of opinions on uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
But I like this. I like this type of involvement from the athletic director because so often we just think about ADs as hiring and firing and raising money. I like it that this guy cares about all of the minutia.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting that you characterize it as minutia. I don't think you mean that. It's the fan experience at Memorial Stadium. I get what you're saying. Some of the conversations attached to the fan experience kind of feel like minutia, but Trev said something to me, in one of those interviews we've done recently that really resonated with me. And he was passionate about it. He said, we haven't done anything for the fans in 25 years. 25 years. He emphasized it. Now, 25 years. You haven't done a lot for him. Now, probably, I hope he wasn't talking on the record. If not, I just kind of blew that. But he was very, very passionate about that. And you know what's interesting to me, too, is he stresses the equity part of it. Mm-hmm. He wants more people to be able to be involved in that experience. So, he's come in, Josh. He really has come in and put his stamp on a few things. The uniform thing, which seems small to some people, it's not small to me. I don't lose sleep over it, believe me. But the stadium thing is big, and he is. Yeah, they do. I mean, look what they did. They took a lot of the questions you were receiving and made a survey out of it.
Yeah.
Sip, as a boxing guy,
Oh yeah, here we go.
does Will Smith's slap disappoint you, knowing the fight training he had to go through to play Muhammad Ali?
I don't know what to think of it. I did just watch it about 10 times about an hour ago. I don't know what to make of that. It didn't. Chris Rock was unfazed by it, so it wasn't that good of a slap. The thing I keep thinking about is what a scene it would have been if I don't really like to laugh about this because it's a pretty rough subject. But if Rock would have retaliated, then what would we have had? You know,
An Academy Awards worth watching.
I've thought about that a lot today, Sip. Like what? Well, I've had two questions kind of that I asked myself. What happens if Will Smith, instead of slapping him, he actually did punch him? But what would have happened if Chris Rock would have responded last night by punching him back? And just how much? I mean, what a circus.
Then you have a melee.
Yep.
A melee, whatever you call it. I don't know what that. I don't even want to think about it. I don't know. I don't want to make too much of it. It's, to me, I don't know about you guys. It's unsettling. Like I don't look at it as. I know some people kind of brush it off and say, "What's the big deal?" But I find the whole conversation to be a little uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Magnitude seems pretty big to me.
Interesting. I think it's hilarious.
I'm still wrestling with the idea that it might not have all been legit.
7% of me. Yeah, I'm still. There's 7% of me that thinks Entertainment Tonight about Wednesday will say, yeah, it was all stage. Our sources are telling us and whatever. But E.T., E.T. Trixie always watches.
I've heard of that show. Yeah.
It's on around dinner time. It seems like it's on for like 3 hours. But anyway, I wonder a little bit about that too, John.
Well, how many people put yourself in Chris Rock's shoes for a moment?
Cool.
Yeah. How many people, when approached by someone who appears to be angry at you, immediately go into a defensive posture? Either you're kind of bowing up to strike back, or you're backing off.
So you're saying
Instead,
because he didn't do that?
He stood there. He just stood there.
I thought that Will Smith was just doing a joke. I thought that I bet he expected him to come up and hug him, or like maybe he puts his head in his hand. I'm going to give you a noogie. Ha ha ha. Yeah. I think that's what he expected. I don't think he expected anything to actually happen. That was my first.
Yeah. I just think there's no way. I think he thought there's no way this guy's coming up to smack me.
The one thing, Sip, like, because at first I thought it was a bit. And then it was like, well, that's weird. And then I read Will Smith's lips and I was like, okay, he definitely seems actually upset. But when I saw the real, like the unedited version from Australia, the way in which Chris Rock responded and said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact, but he said something like, it was a joke. And his tone saying that, that was dude, I am just kidding. Like, let's not take this thing too far. That's what I heard in his voice.
These are high-level actors, so these are high-level guys.
Fair.
And they are, and they could pull it off. But I'm with you. I thought the tone of Will Smith's voice when he dropped the F-bomb.
Oh yeah.
If that is art, that is incredible art.
He should win another Oscar if that was art.
Yeah.
Give him another one next year.
I mean,
I'm with John though. There is a part of me that says Oscars. I don't know what their ratings are like. It doesn't feel like it's as big a deal as it used to be, and maybe that's what this is all about. I don't know. But I think that would be. I mean, that would be. I don't even know how to characterize what that would be, but yeah, it's fascinating. I will say this: as much as I say it's unsettling, it's fascinating to me too. It's
definitely
that kind of stuff is fascinating.
So weird. Famous people are weird, man.
Yes, they are. But I will remind you, Stone Cold and Macho Man were able to pull that off and try to make it sound real with their anger when they were cutting their promos. So, I mean, that's the one thing Will Smith should be able to do is cut a good promo and make it look like he means it. I mean, that is literally his job.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
By the end of the week, I'm going to have everyone thinking this was all a work. And remember, WrestleMania.
Is this wrestling?
WrestleMania is coming up. Maybe this was all Vince McMahon's scheme. Maybe they're actually fighting in a cage this week. It could happen.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It'd be a sick joke, is what I'd say. It feels like it'd be a sick joke to me.
It was just a joke. That's what Chris Rock said. It was just a joke, just a G.I. Jane joke. All right, Sip.
Rock handled it pretty well.
Yes.
The thing I kept thinking is, man, he just kept going. That was impressive to me.
Yeah.
His composure was really impressive.
Sip, thank you much. And hey, you know what?
What?
Next Monday, are we counting down to a spring game?
Oh my gosh, yes, because we're counting down to Mexico is what we're counting down to.
No, they're playing the
See
spring
you
game
later,
in Lincoln.
bitches. I'm going to Mexico.
Well, they're playing the spring game in Lincoln.
I won't be paying attention.
Josh, you going to Mexico?
Hell yes, I am.
Oh, good for you.
Thank
Good
you.
for you.
Yeah, we
You
booked
gotta
it.
miss the spring game?
Yeah, it's such a bummer. We booked it before it was scheduled, and oh man, I won't have any takes.
Double good for you.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm not going to think about it for a second. Cannot wait.
The rest of us will treat it like an actual game.
I know. I can't. I will probably read your column when I get back into the States. But
in the press conference after the game, when Scott Frost tells an inappropriate joke about Mark Whipple's wife, and Whipple comes up and slaps him,
man.
you're going to wish you were there.
Fair. If that happened, I would be a tad bit bummed to be out of the country. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
All right,
guys.
Take care, Sip.
Bye, Sip.
Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star.
By the way, I referenced a quote from Mike Dawson in the interview.
Yes, please.
If you didn't have a chance to see this earlier, Sam McEwen tweeted it out. So this was, I'll just read Sam's tweet. NUDL coach Mike Dawson on the progress of a young group of DLs, so defensive linemen. It's not like they go out there and say, you know what? I think I'm going to do the exact opposite of what he told me to do, but sometimes it looks like that, and it feels like that as a coach. #Huskers. Yeah, that is,
wow.
It does seem, and I know like it was a quiet spring and then spring break happened and then there's been news. So, it's always going to be like that if, hey, nothing happened for 2 weeks, but then a piece of news happened. Like that's how life works. But it does seem like the last week and change has just it hasn't been quiet anymore. And so after really a few months of not a whole lot, they made the hires. And then it was just kind of like a lot of happiness, a lot of like, the people who are doubting are still doubting, the people who are positive are still positive, but nothing changed. Something has changed over the last week, and it does seem like people are a bit more on edge. Eric Chenander talked about that today, the poor tackling that they had in the scrimmage over the weekend. So it seems like really
it's that doggone spring break. It threw off everything.
In all seriousness, I do wonder if they regret having a spring break,
But they've done this every year.
I know, but think about that, though.
Not that that's an excuse, because they've had issues every year.
Great point. You can get out of a rhythm, I imagine when I come back from the trip, I'm not going to be like in tip-top shape because I'm going to be on vacation. And that's not to say that every single player, just went home and sat on the couch the whole time.
Right.
But I'm guessing that they probably took it a little easy. I know I'd want to after, spring ball. Also, there are already 10 practices in. It's almost done.
This is true.
Talk about the urgency. And it's like, wow, I read that, something today, and it was like after their 10th practice. And it's like, wow, so they only have 5 left, counting the spring. So they really only have 4 actual practices left.
We only have 5 days left until North Carolina Duke, which means we've got a lot of North Carolina Duke talk the rest of this week.
Let's go.
We have a lot of people out there that are dying to hear about this game.
Hell yes.
Or dying not to hear about this game. And I've always been curious why. On 1620 The Zone.
Zone, taste of our takes. Sharp and Betting in the Morning.
Omaha baseball coach Evan Porter joining us on Sharp and Betting in the Morning.
It's just wonderful what he's doing. And all three of us, Brian and Peyton and myself, played here. So we truly do love UNO and Omaha, and we are completely invested in this program and university, and we want to see this thing go as far as it can.
For more, tune in every day to 1620 AM or go to 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Sun and clouds Monday, more mild with highs near 55 degrees, but breezy. Gusts possible out of the southeast in excess of 25 miles an hour. Expect high fire danger Monday, mostly cloudy tonight and mild with a low near 38. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, isolated showers with a chance of storms after 5 p.m. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, a stall has the shoulder blocked on westbound I-80 over in Counts Bluffs at the South Expressway exit, so be ready for a few delays through there. Otherwise, slow going on southbound 72nd between Giles and Cornhusker. And if you're north on 84th, a little bit of a delay between Centennial and Giles. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Burton AC, Plumbing, Heating, and More.
Burton's Match Mania special is here, and this is one shot you don't want to miss. This month, Burton will match any competitor's price on the purchase of a new HVAC system and beat it by $200. Heat up your game. Visit our website or call for details. Terms and conditions apply.
The weather is fantastic outside. Why not reward yourself after a nice walk going to grab some ice cream? A ton of springtime fun flavors are out at Ted and Wally's. Listen, a nice family walk, a little get-together, and an appointment destination. That's Ted and Wally's. Two great locations in Benson and the downtown area. And remember, if you're looking to kind of top off a nice day, a little weather, maybe you want some good flavors and some great ice cream, it is Ted and Wally's. It's nostalgia at its finest.
It's almost spring, and it's time to stop by any 42-degree location and save up to 50% during our annual spring sale. Let's start with Kratom. Buy one, get one at 50% off. Looking for CBDs or Delta 8 products? We have the largest selection from $12.99 with a large selection of pipes and vaporizers starting at $11.99. Then it's time to stop by any 42-degree location, talk with the most knowledgeable and friendly staff, and see why we are the source. Buy your mom's house.
Kid Rock. Bad Reputation Tour. Friday, April 8th, CHI Health Center. The American Badass, Kid Rock. With Grand Funk Railroad. And a special appearance by Trey Lewis. On sale now. Get tickets at livenation.com. Kid Rock.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
His ability to suck in these balls.
The 1620, The Zone.
We have a Final Four. And arguably, it may be one of the most name-brand Final Fours we've ever had.
I was going to ask you if you can remember a Final Four that has been more blue-bloody. And it's funny because they're all blue. But can you remember
They
a Final
are all
Four
blue, now that you mention it.
that has like a better collection of name brand teams? Because the only other two options that I would throw in as a collection would be like Indiana and long ago, of course, Indiana and UCLA. Just thinking
Well,
of
yeah,
other,
Kentucky, too.
And Kentucky, thank you. And Kentucky.
Actually, David Cobb, who writes for CBS Sports, ranked the most blue-bloody Final Fours in recent memory. And he thought this one was the most blue blood of all. Saying that, you know, some people would say, well, is Villanova truly blue blood? Well, when you consider that they've won
money blue blood.
They are the only multi-time national champion in the field in the last decade.
In the last decade. The only team that has not won a national title that's in the Final Four in the last decade is Kansas, and they won in 08. So
they were just on the outside.
All four of them have won one title since 2008.
Right.
The last 15 years, basically.
But the others that would come close in the last 40-ish years, in 75, the Final Four was UCLA, Kentucky, Louisville, and Syracuse.
Say that one again.
UCLA, Kentucky, Louisville, and Syracuse.
In which year was this?
75.
Okay.
But Louisville and Syracuse had not yet won a national title at that point.
So
I think that's
retroactive.
So that's retroactive. 93 had North Carolina, Michigan, Kentucky, and Kansas.
See, that's really good. And how you view Michigan in that moment kind of plays a part in the discussion because they had won a title.
They won a title 4 years earlier.
And of course, the Fab Five is arguably, a top 5 most famous basketball team ever.
But
they're not a blue blood. They're a really good program.
Not in basketball.
No, but yeah. They're a good
But they're
program.
certainly a name brand.
Definitely a name brand.
91, you had Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, and UNLV.
See, and the UNLV is essentially the same conversation we just had about Michigan, except they had just won the title the year before.
Correct.
But again, not a blue blood, more of a new money school that was very, very good, but not a blue blood.
And 2008, we had Kansas, Memphis, UCLA, and North Carolina.
See, that one's fascinating because they were all 1 seeds, which was the first time that had ever happened before. That was a really great collection of teams. Roy Williams versus Kansas for the first time. That was an incredible storyline. But Memphis, they're not a blue blood. Definitely not a blue blood, though they were a great team that year.
So, yeah, you can make the argument this is the blue bloodiest Final Four of all time.
Definitely. You got a collection of, North Carolina, most Final Fours ever. Kansas is second, right? Or
Kansas is second.
UCLA's up there, of course, too. And
Coach K has the most as an individual coach.
Exactly. Now he has set the record. He has passed John Wooden. They have, he has won 5 titles. These programs, like I said, they've all won championships in the last 15 years.
Well, just adding the championships. Now, I know UCLA is always going to skew anytime UCLA is mentioned. They're going to skew the number, but, Villanova's on 3. Kansas is on 3, right?
Kansas
or 4
titles ever,
or is it 5?
I honestly do not know because a lot of theirs came when I was, but a glint in my parents' eye, which is odd about Kansas. They don't really
It's
have
either 3, 4, or 5.
Right,
I don't know why I'm having an issue.
All right, in the NCAA tournament era, they have 3. 50, that's crazy. They're like Michigan with just a little bit more modern success. Michigan football.
Mm-hmm.
They won in 52, 88, and 08. It's crazy. I was born after their 88 title. They've won once in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you would just how we talk about them, you would think North Carolina in my lifetime has won, I think, like 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Duke's won 5. All of them have come in my lifetime.
So, you look at just the total combined titles. There's a lot. There's a lot in this Final Four.
And a good point from Alan real fast. He says in 91, Duke wasn't considered a blue blood
No,
yet.
they weren't.
So this year has to be it.
That's more retroactive because Duke had been to some Final Fours, but this was really the beginning of Coach K's ascent.
Correct, because that was his
and
first
this
title.
program's ascent to the status they now hold today. But in the moment, they were.
Well, John, it'd be like saying the 71 Orange Bowl between Nebraska and LSU. 2 of the biggest blue bloods in college football history. Like, no, not in that moment.
They weren't. Because Nebraska hadn't won a national title yet, and LSU
had won?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back at it through the lens of history.
Wow.
Nebraska, LSU, what a huge game.
But in the moment,
looking back at it, Duke was, it's hard to believe, but yes, it was true. Duke was the plucky underdog.
Yeah. Duke was, I don't want to compare them just to do it because they're in the Final Four, but they're kind of like Villanova now. As Villanova is now, it seems like they're on the precipice of maybe really joining that conversation. This would be their 4th since 85. And it'd be their 3rd. See, I don't want to call them a blue blood just because that is a distinction that says you have been great across a lot of decades, a lot of them. And I know that, now this would be this would be their 4th title since 85, but I don't know. They just needs a little bit more, I think, before they enter that conversation.
The conversation around St. Peter's was interesting because some folks wanted to compare their run and the way we celebrated St. Peter's to the way some people were like, oh, Cincinnati is in the playoff?
Sure.
And Stephen Godfrey.
I love Stephen.
He tweeted this. He tweeted out a thread over the weekend. This was prior to St. Peter's losing yesterday, but this was after this. I think it was Saturday after they had beaten Purdue. And he tweeted out, sports establishment when St. Peter's makes the Elite Eight. Isn't this just the best? Sports establishment when Cincinnati makes the CFP playoff. These bleeping usurpers have no business here and stand no chance of a title. And then he posted a side-by-side screenshot of a couple of tweets from one Kirk Herbstreit. An announcer who should never be doing NFL games.
And he will be.
Again, use the SAP button on your remote. But Herbstreit, after Cincinnati made the playoffs.
Oh, he was hot and bothered, man.
After 7 years of bitching and complaining from a vocal minority that the CFP system is rigged and the small guy will never get a chance. Haven't heard much from you the last couple of days. Everything okay? What's the next conspiracy theory? Can't wait, because that one is history.
What did he have to say about St.
And then
Pete, though?
after St. Pete's, actually, this was prior to St. Pete's even beating Purdue.
So this is probably when they beat Kentucky.
Yeah. Man, love how much the Peacocks love to compete and play for one another. Incredibly well coached. and selfless basketball. Love watching their culture be rewarded on this grand stage. Congrats, and can't wait to watch you all in the Sweet 16.
That's
the only
funny.
thing it's missing is a smile emoji and some peacock emojis.
That's funny.
But it is true how, and again, the difference is subtle but still important. College football has just a Final Four.
And for a while, it was just a Final Two. It was
And
a game.
so it's 2 games, that's it.
Yep.
Whereas Herb Street kind of follows the mainstream where we love the first weekend for the upsets. But once we get past the first weekend,
you want the brands.
We want the brands like we're getting this weekend. Villanova, Duke, Kansas, and North Carolina.
Yep.
We want the brand names. We don't need these. And it would have been interesting to see what the reaction would have been like had St. Peter's pulled the upset and kind of spoiled this blue blood party. I still think that most people would still be, oh, this is such a great story. Because
it would have been an incredible story.
Because
first 15 ever.
They had won their way into the Final Four.
That's always the
which with college football
doesn't exist.
They get voted their way.
Yeah.
Essentially,
that's why
into the playoff.
I think we said it in the crossover earlier. People hate rematches in the playoff or in bowl games in general. It's not that we as a society hate rematches. The NFC Championship game, that was a rematch.
Yeah, for the third time.
The AFC Championship game, that was a rematch.
Of a game that had just been played a few weeks earlier.
We love rematches as long as they feel like they were earned when they are chosen for us. That's why, especially the one between LSU and Bama in the title game, that infuriated people because it was chosen. They decided to give us that game, even though the argument that I know I made at the time was, we already saw it. We know LSU is better, even though they weren't. We know they're better. Why do we have to watch this again? We saw they won on their home field. Basketball's different, and literally every playoff system is different because they have to win games, plural, to get to a point where you're at the Final Four or a championship, matchup where it's a rematch. You have to win multiple games. But it is funny, man, and it's such an old adage about the tournament, but it's true. We love the upsets early, but late, and they always talk about ratings. People like brands more than they like, oh, cool, Wichita State, what a great story. And this would have been, a 15 seed in the Final Four. Ridiculous. That would have been an incredible story. But I think some of maybe the fatigue with St. Pete, I'll be honest, Robbie was talking about their coach earlier, who's no longer their coach now. I didn't really see a whole lot of interviews with him. That was probably because I was really busy this weekend. But I didn't see those. But I think part of it is there was this doubt that they were actually this good. And that ended up being founded yesterday. They got killed.
Sure.
That game was over right away. And in the end, I think there's the selfishness of, I want to watch a game between teams that I know who they are. Duke, North Carolina, two of the most name brand programs in, sports in general. But also when we're at the end, we want good games. And I know that's a part that has infuriated people about the playoff lately too in college is these games suck. We want to watch close football games.
Right.
We want to watch close basketball games. And so I think there was a fatigue that if St. Pete made it, even though they'd beaten Kentucky, they'd beaten Purdue, and how they played against Purdue late, that was incredibly impressive.
Yes, it was.
But there was this doubt of they can't keep doing this. And sure enough, they got smoked by North Carolina.
Though, of course, the irony is that Cincinnati gave Alabama more of a run than Michigan gave Georgia.
Totally. Adam says Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina. That would be the most blue blood Final Four for myself.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think so too, because it's the best mixture of modern and classic success. Whereas, once again, Indiana, they're Nebraska football. Some people might not even consider them a blue blood anymore, Whereas Nebraska might not be considered one anymore.
And I could make the same argument for UCLA. Even though UCLA was in the Final Four last year.
That's true. They haven't won a title since 95?
Yeah.
I think 90, somewhere
and that,
So think about
even though they have the most titles, but most of them happened pre-1975.
See, they're the better comparison to Michigan. Michigan football, all their titles except for one came pre-54, I think. They are old. They're World War II and earlier titles.
Mm-hmm.
And college basketball is a different kind of sport in terms of how long it's been around. But yeah,
Sure.
A lot of the UCLA titles are in an era where the tournament was how many teams? Where you had to win just a handful of games.
Just a couple of games, yeah.
Now,
2, 3, 4 games.
I don't want to take anything away from their success.
No, not at all.
They were the program, but yeah, it was a different era.
Well, the tournament of great significance wraps up this next weekend. And right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed.
Whoa!
$150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the games this weekend, totally up to you. You've got money line, you've got totals, you've got prop bets, you've got same game parlays, all of it available right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And Villanova suffered a pretty tough loss at the end of that game when Justin Moore's Achilles went out. Might be a good time to run Kansas this weekend. KU, rock chalk, they say down there.
Yeah, and John, only a 4.5 point favorite. So it's a short line, and Villanova a little short-handed. The other game also with a short line, Duke -4 in their third meeting this season. Those bets, like John said, the player props and so much more. I'm looking at some of these props right now. You got guys who score 10 or more points, 15 or more points, 20 or more points, 35 or more points, first baskets, all of that. Plus, you can parlay stuff and have a great time. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Put in our promo code 1620. You can place your first $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. That's the FanDuel Sportsbook promo code 1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Every swish, dunk, and layup. College basketball on 1620 The Zone.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats. Dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people. Small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Home is where your health is, where your family gathers together, takes care of each other. And right there with you is Nebraska Medicine. We're proud to take care of Nebraska, to deliver everything your family needs. From immediate care to neurosurgery, it's expertise you can be confident in. With locations throughout the region and telehealth appointments from the comfort of home. Find a provider close to you at nebraskamed.com.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
The lowest race of the year at Genesis Health Clubs right now to get us all ready for summer. Hi, I'm Rodney Stephen, owner of Genesis Health Clubs. Summer is literally right around the corner, and there's no better time than the present. Right now at Genesis Health Clubs, we're offering the lowest race of the year so you can get started toward your fitness goals because this summer is yours. Even better, we're waiving enrollment fees and taking $18 off a month for you to start now. But it won't last long. This offer expires at the end of the month, and it will not be extended. This is your last chance to get the lowest rates of the year with no enrollment fee. Hurry, just 3 days left. This summer is for you. The benefits of regular exercise are endless. Look better, feel better, have more energy. Are you worth it? Yes. We only get one body. Nothing is more important than our health. The lowest race of the year with no enrollment fee. Just 3 days left. Join online at genesishealthclubs.com before the lowest race of the year are gone forever. Hurry, just 3 days left. Act today. This offer will not be extended.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Follow-up question, John, from Matt on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Why doesn't UConn get immediate acknowledgement as a college blue blood. I mean, really, they're kind of like Villanova.
They're like Villanova.
They're
in the new money conversation.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, Villanova, I keep saying it, they have 3 titles. This will be their 4th, and they go back to 85. Whereas Nova has 4 titles, and they all go back to 99. So, I mean,
You mean UConn?
UConn does, my bad, yeah.
Yes.
UConn, very, very recent.
Yeah.
And so they're a great modern team.
Yeah, they're very much in the same realm as Villanova.
But I think blue blood, you know how
to me, blue blood is a combination of long time history, and
it's like a
current
Carnegie.
success.
They're like the Carnegies or the Hiltons, right? The blue bloods.
Well, that's where the top
like
term,
established.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's establishment. It's McDonald's. It's Burger King. It's it's Coca-Cola.
And I know that I like using this phrase at times, but sometimes it's like porn. It's like porn. You know it when you see it. Like,
yeah,
UConn, no offense, great program. Nebraska, I mean, everyone locally would love to be them. They're just not there, though. They're not. I think there is a connotation that comes with being a blue blood that is kind of know it when you see it, and I just don't think that they belong there. And that's why, again, Indiana is just very
which is
unique.
why Indiana probably still gets some votes to that account.
Because you know what, a lot of it comes down to who you're talking to as well. There is still generations of college basketball fans that is like, yeah, Indiana, of course, they matter. Whereas they don't really matter.
Yeah, they haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't in a long time.
UCLA is the same thing. But that's why the obvious Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, forgetting, I mean, really in those other 2. That's why those 4 specifically, they're easy shoo-ins because I could talk to you in your 50s. You could talk to me in my 30s. You could talk to somebody in their 70s.
Right.
You could talk to somebody, a college diehard that's 18 years old. They're all going to mention those 4 teams. All of them.
If you mention the mere mention of their name and the first thought that comes into your head is something to do with basketball, Kentucky, basketball, Kansas, basketball,
Carolina.
Duke, Carolina, basketball,
Yeah.
even Indiana, basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's always one of those fascinating conversations, and there's different tiers.
Definitely.
There's definitely different tiers, which is why I like the term new money.
Mm-hmm.
Villanova is a new money blue blood.
Great new money school.
And UConn is
definitely
a new money blue blood based on their success. But, do they have the same history as Kansas? Do they have the same? No. I mean, Kansas literally has taken over as the winningest program of all time. They just did it 2 games ago.
Yeah.
The most wins ever in the history of college basketball. It's Kansas, with Kentucky right behind them. And North Carolina's in that running as well. I mean, sometimes there's just those things that you're right. It's like porn. You know it when you see it.
Yeah.
You know it when you hear the name, which is why North Carolina and Duke is going to get so much attention. It was going to get a lot of attention anyway because it's the Final Four, but because it's this rivalry and it's because of Coach K. It's almost too easy of a script to write. But we thought that the last time Mike Krzyzewski was going to face North Carolina, the bitter rival, was going to be North Carolina punking them on their home floor in his last home game. And now he gets a shot at revenge on the biggest stage in college basketball. Yeah. And it's the first time ever these 2 schools, for as many times as these 2 schools have been in the NCAA tournament, they have never met. I mean, we've had conference on conference.
Duke played, I remember one of the more memorable ones in my lifetime. They played Maryland in the Final Four back when Maryland was in the ACC. It was like, wow, this is awesome.
We've had Big Ten versus Big Ten in the Final Four. We've had ACC, other ACC versus ACC, but we've never had Duke and North Carolina. They've always been kind of separated. Just keep these boys apart. They can't. And now they're going to play with all of these stakes on the line. I think this is going to be one of the most interesting, fun national semifinals we've ever had.
In all seriousness,
because of all the storylines and the rivalry. And I love rivalries.
I am so happy that I am not a diehard fan of one of these schools, because the depression that will follow at 10:30 Central Time on Saturday night for one of those groups, it's hard to imagine it. You want to talk about a game that as a fan and as a team and as a coach that you want to win, that you have to win, this is the one. Because Duke has a chance now to undo the loss at Cameron. And I know some will say, no, Josh, it will not undo it. They lost in the final home game for Coach K. I know, but you beat them in the national semifinal, in the Final Four, in your first ever tournament game. You undo that. Meanwhile, on the other side, North Carolina ruined his last home game. They could end They could end his career, and they're an 8 seed. That's the other thing too.
Yes.
This is not a vintage North Carolina team. This isn't, Tyler Hansborough or Sean May or Michael Jordan. This 2022 group that's an 8 seed that had to beat a number 1 Baylor after basically giving the game away for like 45 minutes, and they could end his career. You want to talk about stress. This game is all about that. I mean, just what a miserable watching experience for those fans that lose. Oh my gosh. I love it. I'm with you. I love it. I can't wait.
I think it's going to be the most interesting national semifinal in my lifetime.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, when Kansas played North Carolina that first time with Roy Williams, that was pretty cool because I was like, wow, Roy Williams. And you could, that game got to them. They played like garbage.
Interesting. One of the other ones that sticks out in my mind is Duke UNLV, which led to Coach K's first national championship because the year before Duke got boat raced in the championship.
And that UNLV team undefeated.
Exactly. But when you look at, again, it's just, I love the rivalry. I love this rivalry because it's intense. They truly hate each other.
They live miles away they're 8 miles away.
And they're going to play it. And there's a chance North Carolina, think about it. We remember when we talked about this the 2 days after the whole Cameron Indoor spoil the party. Oh, how great is this for North Carolina? You got scoreboard on them forever. You'll always be able to say, but we beat you in your last game at home. And now all of a sudden,
they could end his career.
This would be the ultimate scoreboard, or it almost.
I think it does. I think it
almost erases what happened in Cameron Indoor.
I think it undoes it.
I don't think it quite does because Krzyzewski really. You had all the Duke royalty there. This was supposed to be a coronation. It wasn't supposed to be close, considering that they had beaten them up on their home floor just a few weeks earlier. That's. Saturday's not going to erase that, but it's sure going to minimize it more than it could have been.
Well, along those,
I bet there is a part of North Carolina fan that is saying, damn it, why did we have to play these guys?
Seriously.
We wanted to have that scoreboard, and now they could get it back on us, and that beady-eyed son of a blah, blah, blah could win another national championship at our expense.
Exactly. And so Jim says, who's got more pressure, Duke or North Carolina? You just laid out a case why it could be Carolina, but it's Duke. It's Duke. They can't, if they lose to him again, and this time in the Final Four, and his career ends.
Well,
they are the better team. Duke is the better basketball team.
Based on the season, yes.
They are the better basketball team.
Though I would say North Carolina, outside of that, 10-minute collapse against
they're playing very
Baylor,
well. They're playing very well.
Are playing really well. Armando Bacot is putting up numbers that we have not seen in this tournament in a long time. I saw this tweet earlier today. He's had 53 rebounds in the last 3 games. The last player with that many boards over any 3-game span in any single NCAA tournament is Hakeem Olajuwon.
Wow.
Who had 53 rebounds over a 3-game span in 1983.
Wow.
He is playing some big boy basketball right now.
Uh-huh.
Here is Dave. Dave doesn't appear to be very interested.
Dave?
Hello.
Hey, Dave.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Hey, I just wanted to talk about this Duke, North Carolina.
Yep.
I've been a North Carolina fan since the 70s. And then I had a son that was born in 1988. He likes Duke. So we bet each other every time they play each other. But this is amazing. We work together, and it's just it's going to be a great game.
Awesome.
So you're excited for it?
Yes, but you know what?
I've got North Carolina in my bracket getting beat by Duke. I still have my Final Four. I'm leading number one.
No, you have all 4 teams?
Yes, sir. And I got Kansas beating Duke in the final.
You're like one of 0.001% or whatever that still has this Final Four. It's not that many people.
Did you turn this bracket into ESPN? Did you enter this bracket into any national contest? Because you might be in position to win a lot of stuff.
I'm like 8,000 out of how many million there are. I don't know. But
wow, you must have lost a lot of points early then.
Just a bunch of my buddies and guys from work and everything. There's 21 of us, and I'm in first, and I don't think I can get beat.
Well, congratulations, Dave. I mean, this is your perfect bracket, or as perfect as it can be. I am kicking myself. The only good pick I made was getting North Carolina into the Elite Eight, but that's where I had it ending.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I had Kansas in the Final Four.
I literally lost my national finalists the first 2 days of the tournament.
I think Nova's the only team I've got still in it right now.
Yeah, I don't remember when I had them bowing out.
I had Nova and Zaga.
I haven't even bothered to look at it because it was as soon as Kentucky lost and then Illinois followed right after that, I was like, I am out.
Jim says, going back to what you just said about like scoreboard and having that forever, he says, imagine Bama getting another shot at a three-peat in Auburn after the kick six. This kick six will live forever. Yeah, if Auburn had to play Bama again that year in the national title game, it would have lessened the impact of the kick six. Because if Alabama wins, then it's like, yeah, cool, what a fun game, but it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Doesn't mean anything in the end.
And older Nebraska fan, you can kind of relate.
Yep.
78 was a huge deal. And yes, while that game still isn't big and we still remember it fondly, a month and a half later, they got their chance at revenge and they executed it.
Nick says
kind of sapped some of the energy out of it.
Nick Not Grim says, as a UNC fan, I'll gloat till the day I die. If we beat Duke again, and if we lose, I'll celebrate never facing him again. Solid way to look at it.
Well, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can do that when you've got a whole bunch of national championships in the bank already.
That's true. And also, don't forget, it's on 1620 The Zone on Saturday night.
It is. We will have all the coverage right here on 1620 The Zone. It is happy hour time next on The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. No major wrecks this afternoon. We are getting reports, though, of stop-and-go traffic on westbound L Street between Center and 156th Street. Delays on westbound Dodge between southbound 680 and 108th. If you're east on 370, delays between 90th and 72nd. And delays on northbound 144th between Millard Ave and Q Street. I'm Mike Neville.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Someone just won a beautiful new blue truck playing Trucks and Bucks 2022. So there are only 6 trucks left. Better slide into a Nebraska Lottery retailer, buy a ticket, and play today. Top prize odds, 1 in 336,000.
Email Sharpen Betting on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me at Gary at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
For Creighton sports news, tune into Blue Jay Banter every Monday night at 6. And if 1 hour isn't enough for your Blue Jay fix, check out BlueJayBanter.com. Get up-to-the-minute recruiting news, commentary, and chat with other Blue Jay fans. That's Blue Jay Banter, Monday night at 6 on 1620 The Zone.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get up to a $15 gift card after a mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With the power, performance, and reliability your vehicle demands, Superstart batteries are designed for lasting performance and consistent starts. Turn the key with confidence. Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The DJ's Hero Awards Luncheon is back at CHI Health Center Omaha. Join us Tuesday, May 3rd for a conversation about leadership and perseverance featuring NU legend Tom Osborne, former Creighton Athletic Director Bruce Rasmussen, and international businessman and Omaha native David Sokol. Plus, hear the inspirational stories of our Hero Awards scholarship honorees. Reserve your seat or your group table today at djshero.org. That's djshero.org.
Nebraska residents Jerry, John, and Ted lost their father to colon cancer in April of 2014.
After his diagnosis, all three brothers scheduled their colonoscopies for the same day, and thankfully, all their scans were clear. With a family history, these brothers understand the importance of getting screened regularly for colon cancer and hope you do as well. Preventing colon cancer and finding it early is possible through screening. If you are 45 or older, visit coloncancertaskforce.org to get a free screening kit. It may save your life.
Here are your 3 brownie batter and yellow cake batter shakes. Enjoy your Sonic.
You know how you could really win some brownie points with the lady? How? Going and picking up a brownie batter shake.
Don't you think that's obvious, though? Do you think she would know that you're trying to get brownie points?
That doesn't
matter.
Why lick the spoon when you can drink the whole cup? It's indulgence straight from the mixing bowl with Sonic brownie batter and yellow cake batter shakes. Hand mixed and made with 100% real ice cream for a limited time only at Sonic. Hours may vary. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Throw. 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 Throw.
The happy hour is on the air. And tomorrow we're going to be at the ballpark.
Baseball.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a really nice day.
Yeah.
For Nebraska Creighton round 1 in Omaha.
The first time they played in a couple years.
First time since 2019.
3 years. Holy crap, you're right.
Because 2020 season got canceled before they could play their first game. Last year, the Big Ten Conference said, oh, we're not going to play non-conference games.
Dumb.
And yeah, so this will be the first time since 2019 we get a Nebraska Creighton baseball game.
Wow.
6:30 first pitch tomorrow night. So we're going to be at the ballpark.
Nebrayton. Nebrayton.
Yeah.
The Husk Jays.
I understand, too, that the women's basketball team will be throwing out the first pitch.
Oh, nice.
Which means there'll be like 15 balls flying through the
I
air.
was going to say,
there's like 15
got to have
on the
15
roster.
catchers down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations, by the way, Creighton women. They won on Friday. Great performance. I thought they dominated Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty much led for the last, I don't remember the last time Iowa State had the lead.
Yeah, and then they stiff-armed them late.
They
got a little
stiff-armed
closer.
late, pulled away.
Yep.
Won, got to the Elite Eight. Unfortunately, ran into maybe the best team in the tournament.
Yep.
And ran through the buzzsaw. But just a tremendous performance, a program-changing performance. I mean, these types of things can really, elevate a program to a different level. You get seen a different way. And especially in a sport like women's basketball, which has been accused of being extremely chalky, where it's always the same teams at the end of the line. It's funny, we say that a lot about the women's game, but we just got done talking about a men's bracket that's got Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, and Villanova at the end. But the double-digit seeds don't usually make it this far. Creighton was only the fourth.
Yeah.
To get into this round, and
that's why I had a
fairly
chance,
impressive.
It was on 1180 on Saturday or on Friday, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it, and they were talking about that a lot, and talking about how this is good for the game. And I couldn't agree more. You want unpredictability. It's why the tournament's named March Madness.
Right.
It's why
it's not named March Madness because Kansas and Duke are always playing at the end of the line. No, it's March Madness because of the upsets and the craziness in the last second shots.
I know that it really started
drama.
becoming more mainstream when Michigan State and Indiana State played in the title, Magic versus Bird. But when I think of March Madness, I think of, a 14 over a 3, something like that. And so for that to happen more often in the women's game, it's only going to be good, because if you close your eyes and you think of a random March Madness game, my guess is you're probably like me and you're thinking of upsets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we love that first Thursday and that first Friday and that first Saturday and that first Sunday, because you get a lot of those upsets.
I think the other part of it too that's really good is because right now women's sports at this level is kind of especially in this part of the country, is in kind of a struggle period, in that so many girls are opting to go volleyball instead of basketball. And there's concern, especially in volleyball hotbeds, that, oh, we're going to lose out on talent because eventually, if they haven't already done so in youth sports, they're going to do it by high school level. They're going to pick one sport. And because a lot of girls are really attracted to volleyball right now, because volleyball around these parts is at a very high level.
I was going to say, yeah,
that it might hurt the basketball product. Well, we saw both women's teams make the tournament this year and Creighton make this deep run. You wonder if that's going to, maybe stem the tide a little bit. And it's not so much about trying to compete and say, well, we need to take more of those athletes and get them to play basketball. It's more about encouraging them to stay with both sports as long as possible. Obviously, in college, you don't see it very often where a basketball player plays volleyball. It just doesn't happen. Gracia Lisa Perro did it for Nebraska, but but she only started playing basketball after she had exhausted her volleyball eligibility. So she only did it for like the last year. But
just too much overlap.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap. There's just a lot of overlap.
Think of when Midnight Madness is, and then think of,
right,
when volleyball starts or when volleyball finishes. Way too much overlap.
But, you think of both sports, height, athletic ability, leaping ability. I mean, the
skill sets
the
required.
skill sets are very similar,
Mhm.
right? Very similar. And so I think it's good for the game of women's basketball in this part of the country. And obviously it's great for Creighton and Jim Flannery, who, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And you hope that, it's something that they can now take that momentum and continue to play with it in the future. Because let's face it, they're in a conference. You want to talk about college blue bloods?
Yeah.
They got maybe the greatest blue blood of all in college women's basketball in their league, and they play them twice every year.
Yeah.
And maybe this will be the thing that, will get that game maybe moved into CHI Health Center and you get bigger crowds. I know Creighton was really pushing out the season tickets for next year.
Mhm.
They want to get Sokol Arena filled.
Yeah,
and something like this certainly helps, and you want to build off of it.
Yeah, obviously I saw, a ton of their games this year, and I was at that UConn game, didn't have a chance to announce it, but I mean, that atmosphere that night was special. And I'll be honest, I kind of hope that they don't play the game at CHI, because, I mean, if they could fill it, yes. But if they can't fill it, I think it's better to have a packed house at Sokol than it is to have, a 75% full house at a bigger arena. And I think that there is something to be said about the intimate atmosphere that Sokol will provide. I seeing this team all the way back in whenever I saw them first, October, November this year, look, did it in that moment that I think they go to the Elite Eight? I don't know, but they played some great team basketball. And you saw that in their win on Friday. You saw that in their wins before that. They're just a great team to watch. I love basketball teams that share the ball. I love basketball teams that, are looking for the assist. Last night in winning time, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
But Magic, he talks at one point, the character, Magic Johnson, is talking about, getting guys over. He's like, these players, I'm paraphrasing, but these players have never gotten as good of looks as they will with me passing them the ball. And that's always been a draw, of course, to Magic Johnson. For sports fans or basketball fans, is that, so often when we think of the best basketball players of all time, there is a selfish nature to them on the floor. Think Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, yada, yada, yada. One of the things that I know drew a lot of people into Magic was he always was looking for other people to get their shots. And this Creighton team, they were like that. They were an infectious group in terms of sharing the basketball together. So not surprised that they had a lot of success. But I still remember talking to Ravi in probably late January, early February on the Creighton Athletics Hour, and he asked me a question about that, what's their ceiling? And I definitely think they can make it to the second weekend. But man, just to see what they did to grow as much as they grew this year, very, very cool. Very cool. Tom, a question real fast.
Yeah.
He's kind of along the lines of what we talked about a lot today. He says, why don't people like the madness in college football? People love a St. Mary's but hate Cincinnati in football. I think we kind of explained it a little bit earlier, at least in terms of the playoff component. It's such a small group of teams. And so there are people that don't want Cincinnati to make it to the Final Four because they don't think Cincinnati is a top 4 team in the country. But let's pretend that we live in a world where the college football playoff is 64 teams. If Cincinnati makes that type of run, I think people would be okay with it because there would be a quote-unquote earned factor. Hey, they would have earned their trip to the Final Four. It's not going to ever change, though. College football's not going to have a 64-team playoff.
No, they're not.
The biggest I think it will ever get is 16, if it ever does get to 16. But I think that's the largest it would get to. But also, I don't know why. There is this part about football, and it's probably the physical component. And I know it's not like basketball's not a physical game, but I think the physical component of you look at their roster and then you look at Alabama's roster, and you just know there's a difference. And, I think that's what gets to people is like, I don't want them on the field. I want someone that is comparable, which I think is silly, but I think that probably explains it to some degree. That said, Tom, I guess I'd push back a little bit and say, by the time we get to the Final Four, people really don't want the Cinderellas anymore. They want this Final Four.
It's you can't compare a St. Peter's upsetting Kentucky in the first round to, Appalachian State upsetting an Alabama in the first round, because Appalachian State's never going to be not going to get in that Final Four.
Yeah.
Football only has 4 teams in their playoff. College basketball is 68. And that part of it makes it different.
Yeah, because you earned it.
Because you earned it.
Yeah. If St. Peter's would have made the Final Four, it would have required them beating, let's see, they would have beaten a 2. What was Purdue? A 4. And I mean, Carolina's an 8. So that would have been, not as, but that was a part of it, is that they beat a lot of teams along the way that they were quote unquote not as good at.
Exactly.
Whereas Cincinnati, their best win was against a Notre Dame team that some people viewed as overrated. Not saying it's fair. I'm just saying that's why.
My mind was blown earlier today.
Same.
And no, we're not talking about Will Smith. But it was a slap in the face for someone like me, who every time this year we wax poetic about the symmetry and the beauty of baseball. 90 feet between bases and, 3 strikes and you're out.
3 inches.
9 innings. 60 feet, 6 inches. Do you know that baseball has been operating with second base out of place for the last 135 years?
Until today.
Jason Stark of The Athletic said in his story today, this is one of a lot of different changes. Baseball started to use the minor leagues as an experimental ground for rule changes. They're going to start looking at robot umpires this year. But one of the other, and they're going to expand the size of the bases.
Mm-hmm.
And if some of these things get through satisfactorily, then they will move it up to the major league level. One of the things they're looking at is moving second base.
Well, not one of the things they're looking at. One of the things they're doing.
Well, they're looking at for the whole game of baseball.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, later this season in the minor leagues, they are going to move second base. And you're saying, whoa, wait a minute.
That's radical.
What do you mean move second base? It's 90 feet between bases. If you move second base, it's going to be out of whack.
You're screwing up the math, John.
Do you know that the math has been screwed up for 135 years?
What, did I draw this?
Great question, Nick.
We tweeted it out for those of you who aren't with us in the video stream, but we've got a graphic up on the video stream. But if you follow us on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, you can see it as well. This is the current alignment of the bases. Now, I'll draw the mental picture for you, but you don't actually see the lines of the diamond.
No, you see
the bases.
Yeah, you see the lines from home plate to first.
Yeah, you see the foul lines
from home plate to third.
And
so you know where the base sits up against those lines, the first and third bases. Think about how they
perfect
sit.
diamond is 90 feet to each corner. Yep. Corner to corner to corner to corner to corner is 90 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the position of first base and third base, again, imagine a diamond. Imagine a diamond, okay?
Mm-hmm.
4 straight lines, 90 feet apart. The first and third base bags are nestled, tugged up inside the corners at first and third, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're tucked up inside the diamond. But second base is not nestled into its spot inside the diamond. Instead, second base is positioned
where the middle of the base,
where the 2 lines intersect. So the line, draw the imaginary line from first base and the imaginary line from third base meeting at second. Instead, the middle of the bag is where those two lines intersect. But the positioning of that bag should actually be inside the two lines. So what baseball is going to do is they're going to position the second base bag similarly to how the first and the third base bag is. And that's what I have depicted in slide 2. The base is going to be set inside,
so it will match,
of the diamond, so it matches the position. Now you're wondering, well, wait a minute. How did it get there in the first place?
How did it get there in the first place?
Well, originally when the field was drawn, where the lines intersect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each base, the middle of the base, was over the top of the line of intersection. But about 135 years ago, they moved first and third inside the diamond so as to make it easier for umpires to call fair or foul. Because as you know, in the game of baseball, if a batted ball hits the base, first or third, it's a fair ball.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the old times, technically part of the base was in foul territory because the middle of the base was over the top of the line of intersection.
So the story that we're quoting that initially kind of broke this news, I guess, today was The Athletic. This was Jason Stark. He wrote about it, had the graphics.
And we linked it if you have a
really
subscription. It's a great story.
Well, then Defector, which is like the old Deadspin folks, they also wrote about it. And much like me, it was like, this is breaking my brain that I didn't know this. Well, they had a graphic of how the bags used to be, and I didn't know this. So as John mentioned, they kind of nestle right on into the foul line, but they used to be essentially a square, if depending on the angle that you were looking at it with. And so the umpires at the time apparently had to figure out if like it hit a certain type side of the bag, if it was foul versus if it was fair, because it wasn't all in fair territory.
So they moved the bags essentially all inside fair territory.
You wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
So you wouldn't have to worry about it. Well, they didn't do that when they did that with first and third because, second base is always in fair territory. They didn't bother to move second base.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, that's going to move second base closer to first and third.
And they're making the bag bigger.
Yes.
So the second half of the season in the minor leagues is when they're doing this.
Yeah. The original square inches is 15. Now it'll be 18 square inches.
Now, the part two that blew my mind, John, about this story was they did this last year as well.
They did it as and they didn't publicize it.
Yeah, because the thought is, why would you want to move this? Because it maybe then will mean more stolen bases. So there is more action. Reading from the story from Jason Stark. The success rate on stolen bases increased from 74.8% to 77%. But the rate of base stealing attempts barely changed at all. There's a logical reason for that. Because this change was done quietly with zero fanfare, teams never dug into the possibilities. So virtually none of the base running incentives that were supposed to be created wound up happening. This year, though, all 30 organizations were alerted to the change and to the, of course, significance of the change. And so here you go. Bigger bases, technically a slightly closer second base.
Yeah. The old distance, by the way.
So weird.
The old distance was actually 88 feet, 1.5 inches.
So it's not even 90.
Between first and second and third.
Mm-hmm.
The new distance, when you factor in the moving of the base inward so that it's inside the diamond and the bigger bag, will cut it down by 13.5 inches. So the new distance between first and second and third will be 87 feet.
Mm-hmm. David says, but what does Mike Lupica think of this?
I don't know, but that blew my brain.
I couldn't believe it.
For some reason, you just always think it's 90 feet, 90 feet, 90 feet. But when you think about it, you're measuring 90 feet from a specific point.
Yeah.
Geometry is hard.
But when you run to first base, you're not running to that specific point. You're just trying to reach the base, which is a currently 15 square inch target, soon to be 18 square inch target. So it changes the distances a little bit.
Yeah.
But the positioning of the base itself, and again, if you haven't seen the story, it's a great read. But even if you just want to look at the diagram that I tweeted from the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, you'll see in the yellow shaded base how they're going to move second base in. And so it matches the similar positioning in the diamond as first, second, and even home plate, because all of home plate is inside of the
diamond.
The diamond.
So now it's easier to get to second base.
Technically,
It'll
it
be
is.
13 and a half inches closer.
That's a lot for some people.
Sure is.
Well, when you think about this.
13 inches?
Think about all the different think about
dream.
all the different close plays at second with a tag.
Seriously, I know that doesn't sound like that much, but when you think about it from that scenario, it's a lot more guys being safe.
A lot more guys getting their hand on the bag because the base will be a little bit closer and the bag will be a little bit bigger. So Javi Baez is really going to have to get those tags down fast.
One of my favorite responses came right away from Don on the J-Tech Instructions on Twitter feed. The game is fine. Leave it alone.
Technically, the game has been out of whack.
It's been broken
because the base has not been consistent.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's such a stunner of a story because it's just weird. I never noticed it. You never think to notice it.
Yeah, you don't think about it.
And then when
you just automatically think, oh, it's 90 feet from this to this, and 90 feet from this to this, and 90 feet from this.
You
to this.
assume that people who run baseball know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I don't assume that at all, Nick. So no worries there.
Well,
it does make you wonder why. I mean, again, the reason why they moved first and third in the first place was to make it easier for the umpires to call fair or foul.
It's almost
now
like they
the
forgot
entire
about
base,
second. Like, like you said, it's always in fair territory. No need to adjust it.
Yeah, you don't have to adjust it. We just leave it alone.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it alone.
Can't wait to find out the football fields are actually 120 yards.
Well, they are.
Oh, really 120?
Well, yeah, from the end of the end zone
150
to the end of the end zone.
yards. There it is. I thought even 120 was more. I was counting the end zones, and I thought 120 was still okay. Well, you saw where I was going.
Eric says, "What in the f are we talking about here? We're talking about moving second base.
Geometry.
It's been out of position all these years."
If you have a athletic subscription, read the story because first of all, I feel like John and I are bad geometry teachers. Jason Stark, very good geometry teacher. He explains it incredibly well.
Right, but
and there's a great background too of like how this
just
happened.
look at the graphic.
Yeah.
Just look at the graphic and you'll go, oh, yeah, second base is a little out of position.
And I'll tweet out the other story, too. You need a sub, but I think some of their stuff is free every now and then. But their story, wait, second base has been where this whole time? It's just the reaction from seemingly everybody that I've seen that's read this is, wait, what? That's how it is? I had no idea. I loved reading it. It was like,
I did too.
It brightened my morning today when I read this story. It was, because there was a lot of like normal Husker stuff, doing all that. And then I'm like, what's this weird baseball story from Jason Stark? I'll read this.
Because right now we're in a moment where baseball's like experimenting with a lot of different things.
Yeah, exactly. So like, another thing.
You
cool.
know?
Yeah.
And the ghost runner at second base and the 7-inning doubleheaders and the stupid DH and this and that and the other thing. But this is actually a change that will bring baseball back into uniformity or perfect geometry.
The people,
if you will.
I hate it.
The people who draw the chalk line should have picked up on this surely at some point.
Again,
somebody.
there are
You don't draw chalk
lines
lines to second.
base. You don't do that.
You only draw the chalk line from home to first and home to third.
Though I bet if they wouldn't, let's pretend there's an era where they decided to do that. I wonder if they would have made a change because I'm like, that's weird. That's not how it looks with the other bases. Maybe we should move the second base up just a couple inches. So weird. What a story. Good on you, Jason Stark.
Yeah, good on you, Jason Stark. We have some unsportsmanlike content still to come. And, all this talk about 6 wins, there are people out there. There are people out there that think that Nebraska's going to be just fine.
Oh.
And 6, don't even have to worry about 6.
They're going 10-2?
Maybe not that much. Oh. We'll explain when we continue on Unsportsmanlike Conduct in 1620 The Zone.
Zone, taste of our takes. Sharp and Betting in the morning.
Ed Service, head baseball coach at Creighton, joins us.
One of my favorite coaches in the state, Coach Service. And on my bingo card, you bring up Ty Block, the resident Dodger killer. As a Dodger fan,
Well, let's get hits off Clayton Kershaw. He would come back and remind me during alumni weekend, say, Coach, I got 2 hits off Clayton Kershaw.
For more, tune in every day to 1620 AM or go to 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Sun and clouds Monday, more mild with highs near 55 degrees, but breezy. Gusts possible out of the southeast in excess of 25 miles an hour. Expect high fire danger Monday, mostly cloudy tonight and mild with a low near 38. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, isolated showers with a chance of storms after 5 p.m. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KATV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. No wrecks this afternoon to slow you down. If you're east on L Street, a little bit of a delay between I-80 and 108th. Slow going on West Center Road for westbound commuters at 156th. And then it looks like if you're west on 370, a little bit of a delay just before I-80. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Lanahan Nurseries.
Shop Lanahan Nurseries for all your mulch needs. Best quality mulch at the best price. You'll notice our prices are lower than anybody else's. That's because you're buying your mulch straight from where it's made. Convenient delivery or pickup. Lanahan Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
At Leach Camper Sales, we're anxious to show you how affordable RVing can be, because whether you're a newbie or a veteran, we'll focus on your budget and find the perfect fit. No hidden fees in our deals and the best prices for your trade-in too. And don't forget, the coffee is always on.
Just in time for those last remaining snowstorms and soon to be here spring cleanups, Ty's Outdoor Power Superstores are hosting an open house from March 15th through April 15th, online and at our Omaha, Gretna, and Lincoln locations. Visit us for discounts on Steel, Honda, Toro, and more. 10% off parts for commercial customers. Over $5,000 total in weekly giveaways. And a giant selection of in-stock Hustler zero-turn mowers. For more open house details, just give us a call, stop by, or visit TysOutdoorPower.com today.
History can be made by chance,
Grandma back to Jensen.
made by others,
For the lead.
or made
And she's got it.
by
It's the Hawkeye transfer.
you.
Jim Flannery was screaming for that play from the bench.
Creighton women's basketball,
Creighton has pulled off the stunning offense.
making history, one sweet shot at a time.
On to the Sweet 16 for the first time.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct
Hey, let's make things real hard.
on 1620 The Zone.
Asked you a poll question earlier today. When you read 6 wins being a reasonable goal for Husker football in 2022, your first reaction is? Over almost 1,200 votes, 43% say you would react with a nod of sad approval. 27% roll eyes, 20% slap somebody, which means we have 20% of our audience who's Will Smith.
Will Smith.
And 9% agree heartily. And we had this discussion. We had it with Jack. We had it with Steve. We talked about it ourselves about, 6 being doesn't. And Sip was blunt right out of the bat. He said, no, that's not a reasonable program goal. Are you kidding me?
And he thinks, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it seems like he would lean that Frost would get fired if they go 6-6 rather than retained. He thinks that's what Trev would do, not saying what he would do.
Right. I have no idea. My gut would tell me right now, no.
That he wouldn't or would get fired?
Would not.
On one hand, I mean, it's not good enough. On the other hand, if he doesn't get fired for going 3-9, the next year they go 6-6 with a 4 new coaches.
Well, it goes back to my theory of maybe
Yeah,
this change
in
was
2
really a
years.
2-year deal, because you think about, not to bring up the past again, but
oh, here we go.
Frank Solich made a great deal of changes to his staff before 2003.
1 year.
And won 2 more games and had 9 wins and beat Colorado. And he got let go. Now, I realize all the circumstances are different, but Trev has given Frost this other chance. when you and Frost has made more radical changes than Frank did.
Yeah, real quick timeline. Peterson, when did he get hired?
2002.
No, I know. Like, was it before the changes or after the? It was.
Oh,
Before
it's actually
was it early 03? This is what I'm asking is,
it was shortly after
the season
Frank let go of the assistant coaches.
Thank you for that's what I was looking for, because Trev was definitely involved in this decision to whereas
to remake the coaching staff.
So that's why if you're theorizing and trying to figure out what's going to happen next, there's a better chance this time of 2 years, getting at least 2 years, than there was that time, because Trev played a part in this move, whereas Steve Peterson didn't play a part in that move.
But I almost wonder if saying things out loud like 6 isn't just artificially tamping down expectations a bit to make it sound better when it actually occurs.
So is there a part of you, I guess, I'll just ask it this way, that is hearing some of the things that are coming out of camp that are, because I'd say very quickly there has been a bit more pessimism coming out of their own words. You know, the defense, I read that quote earlier from Dawson.
Read that again.
Quite the quote. Let me find it real fast. Sam McEwen tweeted this earlier after practice. And here is what Mike Dawson had to say. It's not like they go out there and say, you know what? I think I'm going to do the exact opposite of what he told me to do, but sometimes it looks like that, and it feels like that as a coach. So there's been a little bit more pessimism. You wonder about what's being said behind the scenes, off the record, I guess, just kind of coloring some of the conversations. So I guess, are you hearing that and saying it's almost being pushed out there like, ugh, we're not going to be that good again. 6 would be a good number for us, is what they're saying.
Certainly possible. And remember, it's March the 28th.
It's March the 28th.
They don't play for another 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
There's time to work out some kinks. Granted, there's not many practices left this spring to work out kinks. They won't practice again until August, but there is time.
Mm-hmm.
And I take everything I hear in spring with a giant grain of salt, because
they do this every year.
It's just spring practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily forecast what is to come the following season.
Michael says 6 wins is awful. Schedule should open up 4-2 or 5-1. 6 wins means ending 2-4 or 1-5 versus mostly division foes.
What if
Can't end a season with
what
that
if
kind
it
of
starts 1-5 but ends 5-1?
If they somehow start 1-5 versus that schedule, they're going to win 2 games. They're not finishing 5-1. I
know.
And I'll say this to the tweet from Michael. I don't know why anything should start 4-2 or should start 5-1 anymore. No offense, Michael, but I just say, what proof? Where's the proof in that? You know?
Again, we're basing it on
names.
Well, yeah, it's Georgia Southern, of course. Yeah, it's North Dakota, of course. Yeah, it's Northwestern, of course. Well,
look, I think they should win 2 of the 3 non-conference games. I will say that they should win those games. I'm not going to say they will, but they should win those games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting any other game in the should win category.
Well, the writers over at ESPN, including friend of the program, Ryan McGee, asked, who might surprise this year?
Mm-hmm.
David Hale, one of those writers, wrote, expectations are relative. Odds are most Nebraska fans expect their team to be better than Vegas odds makers do, mostly because fans aren't required to be reasonable. I don't think this is necessarily a 10-win team with a real shot at the Big Ten title, but it's certainly a bowl team and potentially one that could make a real run at the West. As awful as last year's record was, and then we go through all the statistics of
close games,
one-possession games, et cetera, says that luck has to change eventually. So here's betting the football gods swing the pendulum back in the other direction, and Scott Frost finally puts together something resembling a successful campaign.
So part of that,
in other words, his answer is he thinks Nebraska is going to
surprise.
Yeah,
part of his reasoning is you can't have those balls bouncing against you again like that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it too, I think, is and look, I've used this as an argument before. You lose a lot of close games. The odds say that that's going to flip the next year, but I get pushing back against that thought with this group. It's a lot of new faces. It's just so many new faces. This is not the typical lose close then win close games. Look, maybe they will, but the corollary isn't there just because it's too many new faces, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, new line coach, new running back coach, new receivers coach. It's just too many new faces, all over the place. Sam says, if they finish a meh 6-6, not a train wreck, but also very mediocre, would you want to bring Scott back because there's win-loss progress? See, and that's what we talked about a little earlier with Jack. There's going to be, if they get, let's pretend they got to 6-6. It's like tricky because that is undeniable progress. You said it with, I think, maybe
they double the wins.
They double the wins.
And they'd get to play an extra game.
But let's say that the 6 losses, 3 of them are, let's say 2 of them are 14-plus losses and 1 of them is like 21. One of those teams just beats them.
But didn't you yourself at one point say it's about the wins?
Mm-hmm.
If you get 3 more wins, so what if 3 of the losses aren't 1-score losses? Maybe they're 3-score losses.
Mm-hmm. Once again, it's a great question.
It depends. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Not all 9-win seasons are created.
Not all 6-win seasons are created equal.
And in this case, we're moving the bar down to 6.
Yeah, and the thing that I keep coming back to, and Dave says, 6-6 blowout losses are a key factor. Definitely are. The thing that I keep coming back to with this discussion is it's year 5. 6,
or is it year 1B?
See, I know. For some it is. For me, it's year 5.
I know. Pete, you might hear me say that and think nobody out there thinks that way. Folks,
there
are people who think that this is a reset and a fresh start for Scott Frost.
Don't hear me saying what I did is not.
No, I'm not hearing you. I'm just
there's
saying.
A lot of people that will do that. No, this is basically a restart. You can't look at it any other way.
Right.
But it's year 5.
There are people who think that way.
Yeah. And that's why, like, Sam asked a really great question. And it's why I'm happy that I don't have to make the decision. Because if they go 6-6 and he actually does pull the trigger, Trev pulls the trigger, the reaction will be fascinating because I've seen it before. This will be different than Frank or Bo because those guys got fired after 9-win seasons.
Yep.
But this would be, because it'd be the first time that you can really say there's undeniable progress season to season. Because I thought his first year, Frost's first year, was better than his second year, even though the record got 1 win better. I thought the 2018 played the 2019. I think 2018 would win. They've never undeniably gotten better year to year. And so this would be, in my opinion, I guess that, but are they a worse team? That's going to be the weird part is if they have a better record, but we all kind of watch them. We're like, give me Adrian again. Give me that group,
Mm-hmm.
Man, 5 months.
5 months, Josh.
5 glorious months.
5 months. This week's zone deals for Cobb's Pizza, and I shouldn't have to tell you this.
No.
These bad boys will sell so fast.
Yeah.
Pizza, salads, char-buffed wings, homemade sauces. They even have keto crust at Cobb's Pizza. 2 locations, 72nd and Jones or Shadow Lake Town Center, and you can get $50 worth of gift cards to Cobb's Pizza for only $25. They go on sale this Friday. At he was holding his breath.
Oh, I was waiting.
He was holding his breath.
I was ready to go. People were like,
he was ready to go. That's why I was pausing. He was holding his breath. I wanted to see how long he can make it. This Friday at 1620thezone.com.
Bringing you all the madness.
I'm out of my gourd!
1620 The Zone.
The lowest race of the year at Genesis Health Clubs right now to get us all ready for summer. Hi, I'm Rodney Stephen, owner of Genesis Health Clubs. Summer is literally right around the corner, and there's no better time than the present. Right now at Genesis Health Clubs, we're offering the lowest race of the year so you can get started toward your fitness goals because this summer is yours. Even better, we're waiving enrollment fees and taking $18 off a month for you to start now. But it won't last long. This offer expires at the end of the month, and it will not be extended. This is your last chance to get the lowest race of the year with no enrollment fee. Hurry, just 3 days left. This summer is for you. The benefits of regular exercise are endless. Look better, feel better, have more energy. Are you worth it? Yes. We only get one body. Nothing is more important than our health. The lowest race of the year with no enrollment fee. Just 3 days left. Join online at genesishealthclubs.com before the lowest race of the year are gone forever. Hurry, just 3 days left. Act today. This offer will not be extended.
Hi again, everybody. Kent Pavelka, courtside, getting ready for this year's roofing season from the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard, America's leading installer of Da Vinci roofs and roofs of all styles. We're expecting another year filled with good sportsmanship, fairness, and integrity. Make the right call with John Higgins Weather Guard, providing the highest level of customer service with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. It's tip-off time with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Living is all about great experiences. We invite you to experience everything that Sarpy County has to offer. The great outdoors awaits you at Fontenelle Forest or Schramm State Park. As the pro sports capital of Nebraska, grab your family and enjoy an Omaha Storm Chasers or Union Omaha game at Werner Park. Nothing beats watching your child catch their first foul ball or perhaps a fish at one of Sarpy's many reservoirs. Visit GoSarpy.com to plan your next experience this spring.
Experience the difference at Woodhouse Buick GMC. Discover the all-new 2022 GMC Terrain. With 3 distinct trim lines to choose from, there's a Terrain for any driver. Plus, safety and capability come standard in the Terrain lineup so you can conquer the road with confidence. Shop our indoor showroom or purchase online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Look, I made you some
Unsportsmanlike
content.
Unsportsmanlike content.
Unsportsmanlike content. Content that's unsportsmanlike.
Longtime baseball fan Tim Kruger. His mind is blown about the whole baseball thing.
This is so crazy, man. So crazy.
My brain starts to hurt. You guys started like pulling out the diagram again and getting into like deep numbers. I'm like,
Nick out on math. Nick
I
hates
can't
math.
do math.
Oh, I know.
Like
every day we deal with it.
Well, you can't do math. It's hard for you to read. I mean, what can you do?
I'm a very good writer.
How did you do school, Nick?
I'm a very good writer and I'm great at projects.
Well, let's see how your remedial reading course went this weekend.
Despite rallying to win Friday, Nebraska lost the last 2 in their Big Ten opening series with Michigan.
Nick and I got a point.
We've been hovering our fingers over the proverbial panic button for a couple weeks. Now is the time to push it?
Yeah. Dude, this season's going off the rails.
It's not good right now.
This is not good.
Now, they still have a chance. Obviously, tomorrow they can get back on course, beat Creighton, but then you got to go on the road to Ohio State. I said these 2 weeks, starting with Michigan last week and going through this week, could be very telling for this team. But their offensive struggles right now are very real.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it took a lot of walks and hit by pitches to come back on Friday.
Folks,
they got to find a way to get the bats going.
Yeah.
Or this is going to be a very disappointing season.
What about moving the bases up? What about the second base
That
thing?
might help.
I think that would fix.
I don't think they're going to be able to do this in time for tomorrow's game.
Darn it.
According to a report in the Indianapolis Star, the swim trials will not return to Omaha in 2024. Say it ain't so.
So does this mean that Indianapolis is now swim town? What the hell's going on here?
I guess.
One of the things they always said was they love being in Omaha. They're big crowds. Were there not crowds last year? I mean, there was pandemic stuff. I don't even remember. This is I don't ever go, but this is like kind of cool that we have it. Plus, you love doing the radio show. We haven't done the radio shows from
I've never
Swim
done a
Row in
radio.
a while.
I've never done a radio show from Swim Row.
One of my first ever shows on the Zone family was there with Dirk Chatlin. We began the show
on Swim Row.
On Swim Row. We began the show, and Chris, he brought over Michael Phelps's mom for some reason. So that's how we began the show. It's like, hi, welcome to 1180. It's Michael Phelps's mom. And all I wanted to do was talk about football.
Swim Row's a cool name for it.
Swim
though.
Row, sad. Are you going to be sad?
That it's not here. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sad for Omaha because Omaha, we host these events and it's good for our business community. I hope it does return at some point. Well, I guess it will have to wait another 4 years after 2024.
Sad. Maybe 2028.
Well, we'll cross our fingers.
All right.
The Detroit Lions, featuring America's favorite kneecap biting coach Dan Campbell, will be this season's Hard Knocks team on HBO. Josh,
Nick,
did you just rediscover your interest again?
So, when I saw this news, I was like, sweet. Love Dan Campbell. He's a weirdo. That sounds awesome. And then a couple hours later, I was like, yeah, but I don't really like watching Hard Knocks anymore. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll watch the viral clips.
Wow, I thought you were going to be excited.
I know, I was too, and then my excitement went away very quickly.
Is it because Jared Goff will be starring in his third Hard Knocks?
Oh, that's true. You're right. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that show. I used to love it, and my interest is just waned. Maybe it's because it's the same thing every year. The music, the grass, they have a sprinkler system going. They tell you about a guy who's fighting for a roster spot, then that guy gets cut. That's how it is every year. There's goofy stuff along the way. Hey, it's Micah Parsons. He's going to play chess.
I still enjoy the show. If anything, it just reminds me, hey, football season's almost here. It's a nice little countdown to football.
I do like that part about it. It's almost time.
One of the things you two have mentioned about FanDuel is promo code 1620, by the way.
Definitely.
Is the ability to cash out before a bet is completed. Well, a man named Max had an opportunity to do so, holding a $20 bet that would see St. Peter's in the Final Four and would have paid out $10,000. Or he could have cashed out for almost $200. What would y'all have done?
Oh, I would have let it ride. I mean, it's you're going from 20 to 200, which is nice. I mean,
very nice.
But when you got a chance to make it 10 grand, that buyout would have had to be a lot higher. I mean, we're talking probably
four figures, right? At least $1,000
or at least high,
$750,
like $750, $800, $900.
Yeah.
But for $200, you're like, let's let it ride, because man, would you be kicking yourself if you gave up $10,000 for 200 measly bucks.
Now, I don't know exactly how Max was feeling going into that game yesterday, but two things for you. I thought North Carolina was going to win, and I kind of thought they were going to do so handily. I just did not see St. Peter's doing that again. Now, part of it, too, was like the refs aren't going to allow for a North Carolina Duke Final Four game to, get missed out on. They want that to happen. The other thing about this was only $20. Let's say he put down $100 or $200. Then I'm probably having a different conversation with myself. But in this scenario, I would have just put a few $100s on a North Carolina money line because I thought that they were going to win and I'd win some money out of it. I wouldn't cash out and I wouldn't let it ride. I'd try to middle it to a degree, make some extra scratch. But I was also confident Carolina was going to
win. ESPN graded each major league team free agent signing class. John, the good news is your Cubs were near the top of the charts with a B-. What's the bad news?
The bad news is that they're still not even within breathing distance of the Braves and the Dodgers.
Are the Braves going to be good again?
Yeah, they are. Because while they did lose Freddie Freeman, they did pick up Matt Olson. They got Kenley Jansen from the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I don't know if you know this, the Braves won the World Series last year.
Oh, yeah. People forget.
The other problem is, and I'm glad that the Cubs, did what they did, but
this is why we did
it's still going to be a team that's going to be lacking significant punch. And the pitching rotation doesn't necessarily give me warm and fuzzies. The good news is they do play in a relatively weak division, though. All the Brewers have to do is get up by a run in the fourth inning and the game's over, because they'll bring in Josh Hader and the rest of their star-studded or arm-studded bullpen and shut us down.
I see my Royals got a D grade. That's a bummer. They have the prospect, though, that everybody's excited for, right? What's that guy's name?
Oh yeah, they're excited.
Bobby Witt.
They're excited
right?
for Bobby Witt.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. is a beast.
Yeah, people are saying this.
Yeah, so they're excited for Bobby Witt.
I've seen highlights.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were just doing a bit.
No, I've seen what that guy can do.
Yeah, people are excited about him, and hopefully the T-Mobile Tuesday thing rolls around soon, because we got to buy the.
I'll be checking for that tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. You think is when it's going to happen? Awesome.
Either tomorrow or next week.
Well, it's gotta
Because
happen
next
soon.
week, because baseball season doesn't start till a week from Thursday.
Sad. Should've
So it
been
might
starting
be
this
next
week.
Tuesday. By the way, one team did get an F.
Oh, who is that?
Mike Schaefer's Cleveland.
Oh no, the Guardians.
How'd my Rockies do?
Well, that's
How did the Rockies do? The Rockies got a C-.
Let's go.
By the way, I just looked it up. Free MLB.TV is back, folks. Next week, April the 5th through the 11th. Free season-long subscription. It's back, folks. There you go.
Oh, there you go. So it'll be next week's T-Mobile Tuesday.
Next week's T-Mobile
So
Tuesday.
I need to move my reminder that I've put on here to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving made his home debut Sunday. Yeah, the Nets lost to Charlotte, but who needs to win? Kyrie said his return to the home floor was historic and he'll never take it for granted. Will we take Kyrie's return to Brooklyn for granted?
No, I don't. I mean, honestly, if you want to take this question seriously, it depends on their success or lack thereof in the postseason. If they go on this crazy run and they win the championship or even make it to the NBA Finals, we will not take it for granted. But if this is just another piece to the weird puzzle that is this Nets season, we will probably take it for granted. Congrats to Kyrie. Historic. Wow.
I'll always remember where I was when Kyrie Irving played his first home game of this season.
Where were
in
you?
the post-COVID world?
Where were you?
Where was I last night?
Honestly, the fun fact is going to be that he returned the same day that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. That is
And
the only
I'll
way
always
I'll
remember
it.
those two events together.
Oh, man. Totally.
Meanwhile, LeBron James rolled his ankle and it feels horrible.
Oh, man.
Apparently. Are we sure he isn't talking about his team? Talking about his team, which is now 1 game away from being out of the play-in round?
They're almost out of the play-in.
They suck. I keep saying this.
I've been saying this.
But here's the
which is
thing.
why we've been keeping a close eye on them.
Yeah, we
it
have.
may happen, ladies and gentlemen.
show
The
up in-
Lakers may not even make the play-in game. Even in the uber-expanded NBA playoffs with
Yikes.
LeBron James, they're going to
LeBron
miss
James.
the playoffs.
Yikes.
Even the play-in game.
Here's the thing, though.
If they don't straighten their act out fast.
Yeah, he's going to try to, keep playing. Who cares about the playoffs? He's got his eyes set on the sight of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at the top of the scoring list. He needs all the points he can get because, he's turning into an old. He's got to get his buckets. We all thought Karl Malone was going to set the record. You remember, John, you're like, is Karl Malone going to set the record? You and Jack Mitchell talked about it all the time.
Karl Malone.
But he kept getting hurt at the end of his career. Didn't set the record. LeBron James, he's got his eyes set on that record.
Well, I'm glad he's setting his sights on that prize instead of setting his sights on making his team actually good.
Oof. Mark Cuban was on enemy of the program, Colin Coward's podcast last week and said, TikTok-like presentation of sports is the future of sports media. Period. End of story. Do you agree?
I do not think that will be the main way that sports is presented to us because you still have to have the traditional broadcast. But, John, you could make the argument that TikTok-like presentation of sports has existed for a while, and it's called the NFL Red Zone, where it is constant movement, constant changing, bite-sized clips of football games. March Madness did this back in the day when it was only on CBS to a lesser degree, but certainly a degree. So, in a way, I think it's already kind of happened. I don't know what this truly would look like, though, for sports that are slower. I think of baseball. I think of soccer. How do you TikTok-ify those sports to draw in fans beyond just that's just highlights. So I don't know exactly how this would work out.
They could show people goofing off in the bullpen.
They could show people goofing.
Yeah, exactly. You got to show me what this means. I mean, you can't literally change the way the game is played to present it in a TikTok fashion in short little bits. Now, for those of you who will get MLB.TV for free, thanks to T-Mobile.
Let's go!
They do, after the game is over, have a condensed version of the game, which usually runs about 5 to 6 minutes that you can watch all the pertinent plays. And that's usually out about an hour and a half, 2 hours after each game is ended. Is that what we're talking about here? I mean, you'd have to explain to me more how this would look.
This is definitely not going to be for your generation or even my generation. This is for the youngs.
Right.
to get them involved in sports. They have, I mean, look, every generation is going to have a shorter attention span than the previous generation just because of how life is. But yeah, I'm with you. It's like, I don't understand this, but it's ultimately not going to be for me.
Well, I remember last season, when I'd keep up with some of the highlights, if I wanted to see some stuff from games, Google has this thing where it was like a highlight thing, but it looked like a Snap story.
Interesting.
And
That's so funny.
It would just go through and it would have different highlights and different plays, but just on Google, and it looked like a story.
That's so funny, Nick, because I would hate to watch highlights of a sport in the.
I don't know how I felt about
vertical, because I'm a dork though, where because there's a lot of people who watch shows on their phones or on even their laptops. I want to watch it on my TV, on my big screen. That's why I have it. I don't want to, and I definitely don't want to watch it, up and down. I want to watch it landscape.
It was weird. They formatted it well enough to where it kind of worked, but
if you have an entire generation of people that get all of their content in the vertical format, you have to try to go after it. So I understand it. I mean, we talk about it all the time in a different way, but with like Nebraska football, how do you get the young fans involved? I mean, how do you get young people involved in sports if they're watching all their other stuff a different way? It's a good question. I'm happy I don't have to figure it out.
Ditto. I
old.
wish someone could tell me what I'm going to bet on tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, what's going on in the sports world?
I mean, the NBA.
The is the NIT happening tonight?
There might be some NIT games tonight.
Let's see. NIT.
No.
Nope, they're tomorrow.
Oh, actually, it's CBI.
Ugh, I'm definitely not doing that garbage. All right, we'll figure it out next.
On 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Guys, let's face it, there is a time when you just need to get out of the house, to have your own place, to be with the guys, or just a quiet, relaxing place for yourself. Well, Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge hears you loud and clear. Settle in. Escape to Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge for an incredible selection, plus premium cocktails, a knowledgeable, friendly staff, state-of-the-art humidor, and incredible lounge. Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 at 48th Street, next to Covey's.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That is right. You can get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. So if you are looking at the tournament of great significance, only 4 teams remain. Take advantage of this incredible deal today. Moneyline totals, prop bets, and more.
Well, it's not just the teams. You mentioned the prop bets. You could take maybe the tournament most outstanding player or a points prop, whatever it is you like. And if you place your $5 bet, you can score $150 in bonus site credit when you use our promo code 1620. That's promo code 1620 only on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 plus in President, Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
College basketball is in full swing and gearing up for the college basketball tournament. Watch it all season long at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill. Of course, Oscar serves great pizza, but don't forget about their award-winning charred buff wings or even their delicious fish and chips. Perfect for Friday nights. Dine in or carry out at 173rd and West Center. Carry out at 162nd and Maple, and order online at oscarsomaha.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. The WAVE technology at Brookside Medical was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces immediate results in the bedroom. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 402-671-7777.
Nebraska residents Jerry, John, and Ted lost their father to colon cancer in April of 2014. After his diagnosis, all three brothers scheduled their colonoscopies for the same day, and thankfully, all their scans were clear. With a family history, these brothers understand the importance of getting screened regularly for colon cancer and hope you do as well. Preventing colon cancer and finding it early is possible through screening. If you are 45 or older, visit coloncancertaskforce.org to get a free screening kit. It may save your life.
You can join us every week for the Sharp and Betting podcast. It's Sharp and Betting. We got a podcast driven by our good friends at Woodhouse Auto Family.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is we'll get more in depth on a lot of your favorite topics, have a guest or two, and just might drop some nuggets of information that you've never heard before.
Wherever you get your podcasts, just look for Sharp and Betting. We got a podcast driven by Woodhouse Auto Family each Friday. You can find it on the Sharp and Betting show page on 1620thezone.com. At Sharp and Betting, we got a podcast.
You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Go get in some holes.
On 1620 The Zone.
And you know why I'm laughing, don't you?
Now, it's time for the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Bet of the Day.
Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up.
Brought to you by nobody.
You gotta be kidding.
Really, we don't have a sponsor. Sorry.
Folks, we struggled. Nick had a racer that, did he do really bad, Nick?
He didn't do horrible, but he didn't do as well as they thought he should have.
Sounds like he did kind of bad. John, you had Providence +7, but you also had Iowa State +3. That did not happen.
Oh,
Miami.
those jerks.
And then I am mad because by the time that we left the show, or not too long after, I already regretted the UCLA pick. Sure enough, I had Kansas, UCLA, and Miami in a nice little money line parlay. Did not pay out. But that's why you got to have parlay insurance on the FanDuel Sportsbook promo code 1620. I'm going to go with the Nuggets tonight versus the Hornets of Charlotte. Nuggets on the road, 3-point favorite. The NBA playoffs, John, just a couple of weeks away. What an exciting sports time. Give me the Nuggets -3. -112 is what it pays.
You know what else is starting soon? The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh, people like
Hockey.
Hockey.
Give me the Capitals on the money line.
What does that pay?
+112.
Capitals with an A. not an
Capitals.
O. Yeah, not capital.
Over the Hurricanes.
All right.
+112. Washington money line.
Nicholas.
Gonna make an extremely on-brand parlay.
Oh.
Give me the Cavaliers, the Hornets, and the Knicks. That's +584.
Why do you always throw the Knicks in there? It never works.
Yeah,
because
rid of the Knicks, man.
The line is close. It's +134. Like, I feel like that's
you gotta
close.
stop.
I feel
you
like
gotta
that's
stop
close.
betting the Knicks.
You know who else was close?
Scott Frost.
It's the bet of the day.
Iowa.
You know who else was close? Will Smith.
When his hand slapped Chris Rock. I am kind of surprised we did not talk about that story as much as I expected to today.
Are you disappointed?
It's funny. I think it's hilarious.
It is funny.
I think we talked about it a little more than I expected us to. We got like 3 segments out of it.
That's
yeah, not like 3 full segments. Like Robbie broke it down. He zaprudered it today. I wanted to kind of do that.
You wanted to zapruder it?
Okay, so put a number on it. Because you keep, what's this phrase you keep saying, a work?
Yeah, I think.
So you think it's fake news?
I think it might be a work.
What's your percentage breakdown? Fake, real?
I don't know. I don't have a number. I just
50-50? Are you 50-50?
The longer this drags out, the more I start to think it's a work. It's kind of like the Kennedy assassination. At the beginning, we all thought it was the scurry oddball with the Italian-made rifle who did it, and then over time, it was like, I don't know. So
But
maybe
you
in
think-
about
you think
maybe
it was
about 40 or
Oswald.
50 years, I'll come back around and say, yeah, it was probably real.
It's
But for right
interesting.
now, it
anything
seems like it might be
old,
work.
you're like, get out of here with your conspiracy theories. But everything that happens today, you immediately
These
are
are
like, this
actors.
My
isn't
dad-
real.
This is what they do.
My dad's kind of the same way lately,
They're
Josh.
desperate
It's like,
for ratings.
my dad questions everything. It's like, I don't know what to...
You can't change the ratings of an event when it's almost over.
But you can change the ratings if something happens and you know that the guy involved in it is going to be back on stage in just a few minutes accepting his first ever Oscar.
It was real.
I feel like people would have been excited for Will Smith to get an Oscar.
They were going to
regardless.
be pumped. Instead, it's like, I don't like this guy anymore.
It's all building up to WrestleMania 2.
Bye.